like them not to be here. Okay, if they arrive a little later, you know, we can certainly go back to them
Okay.
if necessary, but look for a motion on that.
Was there no comment regarding it?
There's no comment here, no one who is.
Just from any abutters?
Yeah. I don't think any of these people are butters,
No.
only me. Okay.
All right, well, I move to approve the amendment of liquor license changes for officers, directors, LLC managers, and change of ownership interests for Carter and Stevens Farm LLC to include Aaron Stevens.
We have a motion, we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded to authorize the change of officers, directors, managers, and change of ownership interests for the Carter Stevens Farm LLC by adding Aaron Stevens. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're good to go. All right, we are now ready for town administrator report. Tammy, I believe you prefer to just kind of give us
Yeah.
information as we go through the
Yep,
agenda?
so I have stuff for the senior center references and the ARPA.
Okay.
And I can go what I did with the finance committee, if you wanna do that right now. I can wait till the end.
Let me just see if we have some people here who have specific, I know the library people are here. Library Association for chimney repair proposals. I know Ann Malis, president of the Library Association, is here, and I believe the clerk is here as well from the Barre Library Association. And Ann Malis is going to speak to the chimney repair proposals, and I believe that, not as part of the library, but also Liz Martin is here to speak about the Welcome to Barre sign. Okay, Man, why don't you join us? And
Okay. So, thanks to the town for putting out the fact that we were looking for chimney repairs for the library. We did receive 2 additional quotes. One quote was a little low, and I attempted to communicate with the individual that gave the quote, and I did not hear back as to specifically what it included, what it excluded, if they had insurance, you know, basic little things like that. The library would like to go with the quote from the days that we received, and that was for $27,900.
are you okay with the specifications of the repair?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so could you provide us with something in writing that just says, this is the quote, and obviously, the first 5,000 is yours, I think?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, and then the rest of it is ours?
Mhm.
So if you guys are, you know, and whatever the specs are, that you would make sure that those specs are met. Do you plan to have someone operating as a clerk of the works and monitoring this work, or?
We do have a couple of individuals
Who
that
could-
would monitor.
Yeah. I would just be concerned that, you know, you get what we're all both paying for.
Yes.
Now, that's all inclusive as well, because
Yes.
I understand the staging on the other one was not, it was gonna be an added,
Well, the state, that's why this quote was so high, because
Exactly.
of the staging.
Yep.
The days indicated to me that they had all their own scaffolding, and
Yep.
they would be bringing their own scaffolding
okay.
To the site.
Okay.
And they had all the proper insurance, and they gave me evidence of their
Okay.
insurance.
Okay.
So,
And so, the specs, that, you know, is the mortar and all that kind of stuff?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
yeah.
I saw that in the original one, but I wasn't sure on the staging, because that's a very large part of it, actually.
It is,
Yes.
just
Mhm.
getting it up there.
Yes.
Now, and the size of the chimneys will be 7 feet, or they will be,
They're gonna be rebuilt to 7 feet.
okay,
With caps.
okay,
Because code now requires caps.
okay.
So,
Even the one that's not functioning? You
yes.
just wanna look the same, okay. I got you.
You don't come up against any historical problems with that? Because they were originally 10 feet.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Lucy is on the Historical Society,
And commission.
Yes, and she did not have any, indicated they would not have any issues, because it's not, when you look at it from the ground, you're not gonna see that much of
Yeah.
a difference in 3 feet. So,
Seems like a lot though, but It's a
not
long
when
way
you're
up.
going up 3.5 stories.
I know it.
It's all relative.
so you will provide the town of Barre with this information in writing, blah, blah, blah,
Yes.
so that we can then proceed with payment. One
Yes.
thing we did find, and we wanted some clarification on, we have in the town accounts an amount of money, and I think we spoke on the phone about it. There's just, what is it described as?
I know Mark.
Barre
I
Library?
think it's Barre Library.
Library
It's
trust, I
like
think.
11,000.
Yeah, some kind of a trust, and so we don't, and this was, how much is in there, 20?
36,000.
And
36.
There's
11,000.
that's not
It's
expendable.
Not
Right.
expendable. So we don't know if it's a grant from yesteryear or what.
Well, I researched that years ago, like 20-something years ago for the town. It was actually a bunch of different bequests that were left to the town, that the town had sort of lumped together. I couldn't find my report that I gave to the town, but I know I gave the selectmen
Okay.
a copy of the breakdown, because the town actually had me search a bunch of different funds, because they weren't sure what they were for.
So how long does it go back?
It's from like the 1800s.
Wow.
Because some of the bequests were in their wills for like $50 or
Oh, okay.
$100, and they were just sitting in the town accounts, and you weren't supposed to pay on the
Yeah.
principal.
So,
You're just
see,
supposed
what
to
we
pay.
don't, what we didn't understand, was it given to the Woods Memorial Library, which would make it a town?
It was given to the town for the library.
Okay, so,
And most of them were for books.
okay,
as
so
I
it
recall.
wasn't given to the BLA, it was given to the Barre Library.
It's always been a constant.
Yeah,
source
so,
of
well, I'm just saying, whose bucket is it in? Is it appropriate for the selectmen to authorize payment for whatever out of that account? And what do we know about that 11,000 that's, that you can't spend? Why is it that way?
Because you're supposed to, as I recall, most of it were you're supposed to expend the interest, but not the
The principal.
principal.
That's
Oh,
as I
okay.
That's right.
understood
Okay,
And most, if not all of it, as I recall, was restricted funds.
so it's just gonna sit there,
Yeah, I think it's mostly for books,
okay.
but I haven't had a chance to go look in my BLA filing cabinets.
Well, if you have any further information on it, obviously, because if it's something that can be spent by the library trustees, that's different than spending it by the BLA.
Yes,
So if the library trustees are supposed to spend it, we should make sure that they know it's available to them.
yes. I believe the town is holding about 3,000 or 4,000 for flood.
In a grant
repairs
somewhere.
In a grant, but
Okay.
outside of that, I believe it's mostly all
So the-
restricted bequests.
So the repair stuff would be BLA stuff that could be used like for the floors that they want to do something with down the
It was-
basement?
It was for exterior flood repairs.
Exterior, okay,
Was the purpose of the grant.
okay. All right, well, that makes a little bit more sense, and so you will execute this contract?
Yes.
Okay, is there any need, because we've never done one of these occupancy fees before, we think it's totally you and we just pay this fee.
Okay,
Okay.
well, I didn't know what
Because,
you need.
well, it's very important for the town not to have responsibility for the project, because
Right.
we would be needing to do prevailing wage and a whole lot of
Yes.
other things. This is a private agency that owns this building that is gonna be repaired. We are only paying our share because we occupy it, we don't pay rent, so we have an occupancy fee, which is in the agreement between the town and the, okay, okay, I understand now, I'm good.
Okay,
So
Great.
you'll get us just some information and so
Yes.
forth, okay? And then you will do what you need to do, and the library, obviously with the trustees, will be closed when necessary or if it's necessary, and they will manage all of that. We
yes,
just will pay a fee when you let us know what that is.
yes.
Okay, any other questions?
Okay.
Okay,
And since I've got you, is the town doing anything to go and spiffy up the common for the 250th?
well, we've got some things in our ARPA funds that we're going to talk about, which is a little spiffing. I know that, as far as you're talking about maybe the Grove Street thing,
Yes,
That we
and
got-
the,
that we got beat
And
up
the
about
Bates
the other
Fountain.
day, and the Bates Fountain. We have not discussed that, but I think you bringing it up will force us to do that, because it does need, you know what we're talking about, the Grove Street and Bates Foundation, it's like with, well, I can't, I'll be dating myself, and only Richard and probably you will know what I'm talking about. It used to be an old drinking fountain. But anyway, there's a part where a lawnmower has hit the corner of it and breached the stones and so forth, and so it's probably not a lot of money to fix that, but we think the Grove Street extension, we're trying to get a grant for that through the charitable foundation, and also the town should pick up some of that cost.
yes. Well, I'm trying to get an organization together to provide a grant for some
Help.
help to redo
Yeah.
the beds.
Yeah.
But who do I contact if I'm successful?
I would say the town administrator, and then
Okay.
she would bring that to the attention of the board to figure out how,
Okay.
what we
I
would
didn't
do
know
with it
if it
next.
was you, Tammy, or Jason.
Well, probably not. I would say if,
Probably.
I would say that they basically mow the commons. They
Okay.
wouldn't, I don't think they would have the time in their schedules to just start redoing that, you know.
Okay.
I don't think so. I'd say bring it to Tammy's attention unless some of you have different thoughts about that.
I think that's a good starting point, and, you know, Tammy can help you, you know,
We're,
from
we're,
there.
Okay.
we're working very hard to get the town hall, at least the front facade painted, and try to get anybody to give us a bid. It's just been really hard, so we're hopeful that we can get on that.
Alrighty.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much
Thanks.
for
Okay.
your time.
Okay. Liz, you wanted to talk a little bit about the welcome to Barre sign that we had talked about in previous meetings, and why don't you talk a little?
I don't have much more to say about it. I came to see what your vote was gonna be.
Oh, well,
on doing it.
I think that from what the historical people have sent us, they've sent us, okay, the stuff that you, and I've talked with them, and they indicate that what they wanna do is to mirror the library sign. The green, the gold, and the granite on the Welcome to Barre sign. It would be located in the same area that the current one is located in.
Yes, but we talked about having it closer to 122 so it'd be more visible.
Yeah, well,
That's a little tricky because there's all telephone poles. and-
right. So I mean, the exact positioning of it is not as critical as getting money to pay for it, correct?
The position should be there on that triangle.
Well, it is, but you and I both know, when you really get the sign there, are you gonna be absolutely sure it's gonna be where the little yellow mark is, or not?
Oh, I can go out there and,
Be in charge?
yeah.
Okay. But no, but I mean, cause you and I both know, when the granite comes and all the stuff, and you're doing whatever you do to set it properly, getting it too close to, Route 122 in snow time is not a good thing, so you have to make sure we're back far enough. I think we're prepared to spend the money for it, but we expected that the Historical Society and yourself would really take
We-
charge.
We will talk to Jake about the position.
Okay.
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
okay.
Is there anything else?
No, we have, I
You have
think,
the proposal?
we have the proposal, we have the amount of $57.75. And that is not the electronic sign, if we choose to do that, that's totally different. And what I will just ask or tell people is that there is a need to replace the very small sign down on the Barre Plains Common to mirror, you know, what we're doing here.
Mhm.
I mean, it'll be much smaller in design and stuff, and we'll probably recommend that we go to this vendor in order to have a similar sign created. There's a little group of people who work on the Barre Plains Common, and so we'll bring them into the fold. But what we'd like to do is to just authorize an expenditure of money out of ARPA that will go to these town signs. Because they're old and some of them are just ready to fall down, so we want them to be replaced as, you know, within the early part of the summer. Liz, you're looking confused at me, why is
No,
that?
no,
Okay.
I'm not confused. I wondered,
I'm missing a paper.
I will also say that I talked to Dave, the sign guy,
The sign guy.
about electronic signs. He had a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
He said, and I think we should find a way to put it on that little triangle of land in front of the grocery store, which I've pretty much determined belongs to the state, except for 20 feet in front of the parking lot belongs to the,
Well, the only thing I would say, and I'll speak for the police, who say, that is such kind of a dangerous intersection, everybody looking and to just get across the thing now, and to say, oh, now I'm gonna stop and read the sign, when I'm trying to look around the bushes around the house, and trying to look up the top, and trying to see who's coming out of the bank, and okay, so that's gonna be an issue from the police perspective, they feel that that intersection is really pretty busy.
yeah.
I think that, in the last 3 weeks, I said to myself, Richard Stevens got it right. 'Cause he put one of his signs, okay, on that other, that I think the town of Barre owns. Richard, think of the one that's coming out, I'm coming out now, of Wholesome Foods.
Oh, where the gas station was?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's actually state property as far as I know.
it is state property?
It is state property.
Okay, so that one's out too, huh?
The state has quite a bit there because it was realigned.
Oh,
It's just the most central location where people.
well, no,
where they live.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's just, how do you say to the police, we know this is really maybe a dangerous thing, but let's do it anyway?
Well,
I would just say that Holden has theirs right at their busiest light. Ocam isn't busy, but theirs is at their intersection. I mean, you want people to see signs, you gotta put them somewhere busy, but it's a
Hey.
point to consider.
I'm just saying,
Yeah, no, I understand.
Matt?
One thing, and I know this takes a little extra millwork, but any good millwork carpenter that makes signs can do
Mhm.
it, is having an electronic sign that almost has like a shutter. So when you're not
Broadcasting?
broadcasting a town meeting in 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm,
you shutter it, and the shutters just say, welcome to Barre.
mm-hmm.
And then you open it and that is cleaner than an orange sign that parks there for the last 40 years, saying, we got a meeting in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can incorporate both aspects when you need to, and then it's just a big LED sign. You put any PDF, PowerPoint you want with any type of old font and
Mm-hmm.
off-white background, so it looks like an old piece of parchment, however you want to create the background, that you just put some words on it,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't need to be a big message.
Yeah.
All you gotta say is, annual town meeting next Tuesday. And then they can figure out where to go figure out where it's at and all the other things, it's just you're bringing to their mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just thinking, maybe there's a blend we
Yeah.
can really look into, rather than just,
Good idea.
there's only one way to do it,
Do-
because I think there's a balance.
Do we know if the town of Barre owns that 20 feet? Or
no,
does,
I was told that, the grocery store LLC owns that.
well, or is it Angelo owns it?
It's.
Because don't they
it's
rent it from
Salvador.
here? Salvador, okay, yeah. Okay. That would make sense. I mean, and we would have to get power down there, and they just did that, all that nice new hardtop. We'd have to go through that, but, anyway, I'm not adverse to it. I would just tell you that Matt makes a good compromise that might get us by the police. And I understand, I come
I mean,
out.
up at the common,
Oh, up at the Common.
it's, we used to park the orange sign there all the time.
Yeah, we
The
did.
concept of temporary is just, do we open the shutters?
Mhm.
And instead of move a trailer, park it there, and then have someone say, MUTCD doesn't allow you to do it because it's an orange. If you paint it green, no longer is it an MUTCD sign either, it's just a sign. I mean, it's so weird how you decide how you wanna define that, and I get it.
Yeah.
By the book, you can define it either way, but my thought is, I think we can find a compromise that meets both. The
Yeah.
intent of keeping the common looking old when you want it to, but 2 or 3 times a year, you open it up for a particular reason that is really focused on town business,
Yeah,
not just
the
any
only
random,
thing-
hey, my potluck dinner.
The only thing, the only thing I would say is that on a previous meeting, we had the historical commission here to explain to us exactly the historic issues that we have to comply with in order to put a sign on the common, where it's located, how it's located, and so on and so forth. So we have to comply with some of that in order to keep that historic preservation, sort of title that we have on the commons. So,
There's room for, adjusting it so it's just outside of the town common, so we have different
Yeah.
approaches covered. Right up front of this building is not considered part of the town common.
Right.
We could have something there. I think that could be a good option. I'm not sure, I believe that's what was said at that meeting.
yeah, this isn't part of the town
Right.
common.
Something
historic system.
on 122 that's not as far
Yeah.
down. We have the senior center sign there that could be used in a different manner than it is, updating what's at
Nornay Park.
Nornay Park, having something more substantial there. So I think it could be a matter of coordinating, more effective signs
Mhm.
instead of having one large one in one spot. So,
Well, at any rate, we are, set before us this evening is the opportunity to approve the Historical Commission's recommendation, which is the Welcome to Barre sign to mirror that of the architecture and granite and so forth posting that is in front, or kitty corner to the Barre Library. So, do we have a motion at this point, or, we do have ARPA funding that we've put aside for that, and would like, obviously, to either say one yes to the commission or no to the commission. And we need to replace the sign for, events that are upcoming, because it's pretty terrible looking right now. Anyone have further discussion? A motion?
no, I would move to approve the Welcome to Barre sign through ARPA funds for, in the amount of $5,775.
Okay, so we have a motion made and seconded to approve the Welcome to Barre sign that's recommended by the Historical Society, it's the Historic Commission, sorry, and to take that out of ARPA funds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it looks like it's unanimous. And to consider our work to place an electronic sign somewhere outside of the historic district, that would make sense, because we do concur that we need to move forward with that, but exactly where it's going to be located will be our challenge. Okay, moving along. Video recording equipment. I'm not quite sure what that one is.
That's mine.
That's yours, okay.
So, find the agenda, jump back into that. Also, I think we missed public comment.
I'm sorry?
I think we missed public comment as well. I need
Okay.
to double back to that. Video recording, I hope some people have seen that we now have a video recording of at least one meeting that's functional online, and we want to, make that, obviously, to comply with the bylaw, to make that common practice for all committee meetings. So what I would like to do at this point is to, determine, how many of those setups we're getting, to use PEG funding to get those. I think at this point, 4 more setups
Is more than enough.
would be a sufficient amount. Do you know offhand what the cost was per
About
setup?
$1,000.
$1,000. So we could be able to use PEG access for that. And then our next steps on that, is getting them uploaded. But the next step is teaching each board, committee, and commission on how to use them, what to do with the video once it's recorded, especially now where, a lot of boards will be reorganizing. We'd like, each board to determine amongst themselves, obviously the responsibility falls to the chair, but are they going to, put that responsibility on vice chair or on a clerk, or however their board breaks down, who's going to be responsible for that video recording. I think we would like to be rolling that out as soon as we get that equipment in, doing trainings and, as the website develops too, and we might need to, work this in and work it into any future websites that we have. But it's a good step. Obviously, the concern is then, well, what if boards still don't do it? And, I think we need to give everyone an opportunity to show that they're willing to work on it and do it before having to put in any other options or any sort of recourse. But, there are ways that we can consider doing that if boards are not interested in following the bylaw. But the first step is making the equipment available to them, going through training with them, and getting those recordings out to the public.
And I do think that
So-
the video equipment that is available these days for those kinds of meetings are phenomenally different than maybe even 5 or 10 years ago. So I think we have a good opportunity here. One thing that it plagues us is that there are other boards who are elected. They're
Mhm.
elected just like we're elected or whatever, and so they say, we're elected. While we have a bylaw, if there's no consequence for the implementation of this bylaw, we'll wait till there is.
Mhm.
So my hope is that because we can make, opportunities available, I think that, that will help people. One thing, this room is always available for people who want to meet here, and yet there seems to be reluctance because of where documents are, it's hard for maybe the planning board to come down here, especially if they're having a meeting with, people who are coming in with plans and stuff, because all of that stuff is usually housed upstairs. So at any rate, like, we know that these equipment works. We have a little struggle when we tried to download the first time and get it up for people to look at. Then we had a little audio problem the next time, but I think we're making some good progress there. So, that being said, I know that from ARPA funding, from PEG funding, we can purchase all of the equipment we need for a relatively small amount of money and get things ready to go.
So,
Yes, Matt?
I have a couple concerns I just think it may be good to consider, before you just buy 3 or 4 more, is one, have we tested it outside? Because Southbury Common Committee meets at the park outside every day, within 30 feet, not every day, unless
Every
it's bad
meeting.
weather, that's where they meet.
Mhm.
And they're near streets, so that's where my audio concern starts to pop up with that device you were using.
Okay.
Because you're gonna get a lot of
Background.
background noise that could easily have the camera looking up, Southbury Road rather than at the person talking, just because it thought somebody else was talking loud. So it's just something to test maybe,
Mhm.
see how that works there. Second, when it comes to the elected boards, whether they wanna choose to or not, part of the bylaw does say that anybody that reports a meeting hasn't been recorded goes into a log, and that
Mhm.
log becomes public.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the pushback.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a committee meeting and they're not consistently recording and it's because they just don't want to, it'll be
Mhm.
up to the town to vote them out if they don't like it.
Mhm.
Yep.
And that's the intent of that, is empower the people to decide how important it is to them. I'm
Mhm.
not
Yep.
trying to say whip them down and beat them up.
Yep.
Town's gonna make their decision if that's what they wanna do, but we need to make sure they understand what's going on and be transparent about who is or who isn't participating. So having a policy that explains how that's done
Mhm.
would be really important before you initiate the plan, so
Mhm.
people know where to go to complain, or people know. And lastly, if I'm correct, this is the only room with fixed cameras.
Yes.
I believe it is, yes.
Did we actually explore putting fixed cameras in any other place that
Yes.
has our internet?
Yes, we did.
And we chose not to because,
The cost was really prohibitive. It was $30,000 or $40,000 to put it in, we were gonna go up to the 3rd floor, because it's a relatively large medium, and there's a lot of junk up there that we were gonna relocate, maybe in the dumpster, but anyway, we're gonna relocate it. And when they began to run the numbers for us, and that's our tech team, and they said, what are you doing that for? There's all of these other options that, don't require all this, hard wiring everywhere. We talked about doing it at the town hall, same thing, very expensive kind of operation. And a lot of time and attention, and our tech people said, we're not gonna do all the downloading, we're just not, so we really have to do all of that ourselves now. So all of those things were sort of like, we're between 3 different town managers, or administrators at the time, and so forth, and we're trying to try to move some of this stuff along. And it's very difficult to say to Sandy, who is doing already the town administrator job with the part-timer, hey, by the way, can you do all this downloading? So we decided not to move in that direction at that time. And the recommendation from our tech people were to really look at the more wireless kind of opportunities, because they are better and better in the future. And just that regardless of what we do, there has to be somebody who's in charge of maintenance, getting the stuff, putting it on for the public, and making sure it's correct, and then making sure our storage capabilities are appropriate. So those are the kinds of things that, I know the police are struggling with that now as they consider cameras, and how they're gonna collect all the data and keep all the data, because they are under very rigorous rules and how you have to do that. So, anyway.
But we were looking at a server in each, physical location that had different built-in systems, and it was,
Quite
you know,
expensive.
it's an expensive prospect to do it that way. So, yeah.
One thing I brought up was, again, so that it wasn't like just something that we dump on Sandy, because it was never my intent to dump this on Sandy. And I had brought this up more than once, is hiring someone. We don't question when we need to hire somebody for the school system, but we do question when we need to hire someone to support the select board's office to accomplish these things. I'm curious why we haven't even pursued adding to your department to increase the support for recording meetings, but also the support for public outreach, the support for all your Facebook and social media platforms, the support for if you do have an electronic sign, who owns updating the message?
Mhm.
Who owns the policy that determines what can be put on that?
Mhm.
It's something that I think is critical, and if you keep trying to just hope someone else will take care of it, it just won't happen. I expect, if you think about the number of people involved with our boards, commissions, and committees, and every one of them,
Mhm.
you
So-
might get lucky to get 40% to even try. They didn't jump on a board and committee saying, oh, I'll take on the responsibility of recording this in a video, figuring out how to go on the internet and save it where they told me. And when it doesn't work, I don't have a 1-800 number to call for help.
Yeah.
I mean, because none of you are gonna be working 24/7 to be that support, I'm guessing.
Mhm.
So when that happens, what do they do when it won't work?
Yeah.
I can't get the meeting to start, or my password's not working. Who's available to provide that assistance? And the answer right now is no one.
Right.
So my question is, how is your current proposed plan gonna address those issues when they pop up?
So, along those lines, I've been talking with Sandy when we've been meeting about adding some part-time staff to that and working that. We're preparing the select board side of the budget as well to meet with finance committee going forward. So we are trying to flesh out the details of how feasible that would be to add someone part-time. So that is,
Because we used to
in
hire someone
process.
that would video it. Tyler back in the day used to do
Yeah.
all kinds of meetings.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then he would send it to Rich, and Rich would do the online management.
Yeah.
And we would pay Rich out of the PEG access funds to do that.
Mhm.
So I don't, that's the other piece, it's like we're trying to pull the people out and just hope someone figures out a laptop.
Yeah.
And it's $1,000 to buy the laptop, but what's it cost annually to maintain the software necessary to actually use it?
Mhm.
It doesn't come with Microsoft for free. That's- And so there's a lot of pieces to this that I'm just curious what the annual budget after purchasing them is and how that all is playing out.
yeah,
So it's just,
Make
I'm
sure that
bringing up
works out
things
into-
that have my concern
Mhm.
before you go buy 4 laptops.
and ideally, that will be worked into PEG where we, but again, we need to get those exact numbers, so we'll do that before making any.
And
Yep.
remember, PEG is so that it can go on TV.
Yep.
If it's not making it to TV, you're misappropriating those funds.
Right.
Mhm.
So right now, I don't think either of the cable channels are working. Do we know why?
Yeah, well,
For months?
I think this is a charter issue that they are supposedly taking care of for 6 months now, right?
Rick's still working on
Our tech people are
Is it a
working with
hardware issue, or they're just not?
a hardware issue, I believe, initially.
it. And the equipment,
Oh, yeah,
it's a
equipment.
combination.
So, and that's, the equipment is housed in the town hall, I believe, so.
Yeah.
they-
So these videos, they would be recorded, and then after the fact, would be on the website and would be run on the air, as, as there's time slots to run them and put in to fill time. So, but we don't have the channels working right now.
And it's been months.
This would consolidate all of those to a place where we can easily take them and put them on the air, though.
They actually, they have to go on the air.
Yep.
So it's just gotta go into some type of schedule with
Yep.
Rich. So if Rich is managing it anyway to go on air,
Mhm.
Okay,
I'm just saying,
Yep.
he's gotta manage it anyway.
okay.
Rich Degon, our
ready to moving on to,
Yeah.
Joel, I know that you are here to do a quick thing, and that is talking about wrestling club at the town hall.
So for anyone who doesn't know, I'm Joel Cranston. I live in town, I grew up in town, I work in town, I'm on a couple town boards. I'm one of those deadbeats that won't record things because I have too much going on and no help. My wife is a principal, I have 3 kids in the school district, and long story short, my boys are now interested in wrestling.
Can't imagine why that is.
Yeah, well, so my uncle is also a wrestling coach.
Yeah.
He's been the wrestling coach for Quabbin for 30, 40 years. He's in the Hall of Fames. So, you know, we're a wrestling family. I exposed him to it. They bit hook, line, and sinker without me being that dad. But it's difficult to pursue youth wrestling. There's no youth programs around. The furthest ones are in the city. Getting parents to go to the city from 6 to 7:30 isn't very practical. The school is great with us, but they don't have a dedicated space, and putting down mats and picking up mats and coordinating with other schedules becomes a logistical nightmare. And if this is a youth program, picking up big heavy mats isn't gonna be easy. So I've been trying to rack my brain to find some out of the way space that I might be able to throw down some mats and work with the local youth that wanna pursue wrestling. And everywhere I've been striking out, people want rent, people don't have safe places, people don't have bathrooms. So the town hall came across my mind, I peeked at it. I don't think anyone uses it. It's not super ideal, but it's the most ideal spot I have, and if it's not being used and I could work there, I would try to keep the peace and coexist with the town there. Long story short, happy to answer any questions.
Okay, answer this one for me. How in heck are you gonna get those mats upstairs?
So the newer ones, they do make the heavy big ones, but they also make a lighter one that's much easier to lift, and they break them down into sections.
You know what those stairs are like, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
So, but they even, nowadays, they put them in, it says it's gonna come in 4 boxes that weigh 80 pounds. So these are things I've thought about, and those stairs would accommodate them in today's, I wouldn't buy the heavy ones, I'd buy the cheaper light ones that could make it up there. Because that was part of my, again, the whole logistics of the mat is the problem. There's not many ground floor spots, but those lightweight mats make it possible. But that's part of my, I mentioned in my request, it's gonna take me a few months, so those are special order, they're gonna run a few $1,000s, I'm gonna form some legal entities, get insurance in place, so I'm just trying to feel out if it's an option so that I should run full speed with this, or if it doesn't make sense for
Well,
the town.
the only thing that I would say, you probably know that we have some issues with the fire escapes and their integrity. And we do have some bids to try to repair both the fire escapes on this building as well as the town hall. The building inspector has brought to us well, not that it was a surprise to any of us, but those fire escapes are pretty old and pretty much in tough shape. So we do have some iron workers who are willing to come out this area to do some of this work. We're still looking for more bids just because to comply with procurement. And I don't know what the time frame is for that. Our hope is, of course, is by the time it's, into summer, we'll be done with that, but I don't know. I know that the only concern that, obviously insurance would be an issue for us. We couldn't put you up there without those fire escapes working.
So, again, like you said, it depends on details, I get that, we can help fundraise, if it drags on forever.
Well, I don't think it's our money. I think the issue is going to be, can we get the company? They're very, very busy. It's not like you call them up and they say, hey, we'll be there 3 weeks. No, we don't know what they're.
Yeah, no, and I get what you're saying, but I guess from my perspective, if you can use downstairs and the front doors are on fire, how does that help? If downstairs can be used, I would think upstairs can be used. I'm not saying that I'm 100% right, but in my mind, if part of the building can be used, any of it should.
Well, I would just say to you also, just to,
Yeah.
of course, our building is not officially handicapped accessible.
Understood.
Okay.
Understood. These are little kids. They all have, good mobility. There's multiple stairways up there. I get it's not ideal. I'm not looking to cause trouble, point fingers, not looking to open it up to the general public. Wrestling is not wildly popular. I hate to break it to myself, but I'm guessing there's gonna be 10, 15 kids and a few parents helping us out 2 nights a week.
Mhm.
And unless you need me to move out for something else, you're probably not.
Well, obviously, we don't use that floor due
Right.
to the serious lack of handicap access. We do have a ramp, that affords reasonable, with a lot of help, somebody to get in and out of the
Yep.
bottom floor, but whatever, we don't have handicapped access. You have to know that. Or
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, and.
I think that's part of the reason it might work for me, is because it's out of the way, I won't be bugging people. I
Mhm.
can kind of leave the mats down without having to pick them up every 5 seconds, but I get it's an issue for you, so that's kind of why I came here before forming everything and
Mhm.
spending everything to
Well,
see.
I mean, I don't have any personal issue with it, other
Yeah.
than, we have to just make sure that our insurance company would say, yeah, this is okay, this is reasonable. But I know they're not gonna say that until we get those fire escapes fixed. And that, at least we've got some people willing to come out here to do it.
Sure.
So we're hopeful. Any other comments that,
Yeah,
Board members?
well, Sandy, there are other events that do take place up there, correct?
not up there,
Not upstairs?
no.
Okay.
He's
Not even
right
with
about saying
250th
there's nothing
or
up
anything?
there.
Not 250th, Christmas and Barry, they don't go up there
No,
during
we
the?
don't use upstairs.
Okay.
What about the empty space up here? There's like an old youth place that hasn't been used for years.
So I actually looked into it, and it's not unreasonable, but the planning board meets at night. I don't have a set schedule today, so, and it might change over the course of time, but I imagine at some point the planning board will say, why are there 20 kids screaming next to us? And
Yeah.
people will say, why are there kids running upstairs,
Same thing,
downstairs
yeah.
using the bathroom while we're trying to video? So just to get ahead of those issues, I'm trying to find somewhere that,
Well,
Yeah, true. So,
Well, I mean, I personally have nothing that say, oh, this would be absolutely impossible. I just
Right.
think until we get those fire escapes done. And I know we've got 2 active bids from
We
2
do.
active companies right now.
Yes.
Technically, we're trying to do our best to meet procurement to get the 3rd. If you were in Boston, where they have every old building in America, and there are tons of people working there, but all of these people are from Everett, Boston, come out here and do, which to them, I'm sure, is a tiny little job. If you went up and looked at those fire escapes, though, you'd say, yeah, but we should fix them.
no,
They're
and I
in bad
agree,
shape.
but I mean, in my mind, so if they get fixed, and the insurance company says once they're fixed, it's fine, these things are gonna take me a few months to get in place, so I'd rather not sit around 4 months, get the go-ahead, and then have to do another 4 months of work and miss a whole season. I'd rather maybe say, if you could maybe reach out to the insurance company and say,
Mhm.
once these are up and running,
Oh, okay.
what do we need to address, and maybe I can just get a jump start on some of the homework that's needed.
Yep.
So I don't need a hard answer, but if we could maybe start sniffing around and
Mhm.
putting things in motion for it, maybe.
Well, I think,
Or you could all vote no and say, this is a waste of our time, we're not pursuing it, just,
Well, I don't-
I don't wanna chase my tail.
I mean, I don't think it's a waste of our time. I think that, figuring out if it's, if the town's liability is reasonable and we don't have any issues and our insurance companies don't have any issues and so forth, and you are willing to get the insurance that they would require you to have
Yeah.
and so forth, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay,
The only problem I can foresee is just, a management problem if it's only you and you've got 10 wrestlers, but, you figure that out.
yeah, and just to put your mind at peace for some of that, so wrestling clubs are formed through USA Wrestling, they kind of, take charge around the country, so they basically, I got certified as a coach, and you can get approved as a club once you have a designation that's not a home. So once I can say, yes, the town hall is our building, they basically will institute a policy saying, we're ensuring the town of Barre at this for wrestling, and here's the liability, and we can talk about those details. And part of the club certification is making sure you have at least 2 certified coaches on hand, which I intend, I have my uncle, I have the quabbing coach, there's other people available, again,
No, I would-
I'm so early in the process, I haven't quite.
And I would assume, there has to be, defibrillators and this and that, like we would be typical gym,
So if there was competition, there would be,
okay?
but this isn't competition, this is more of practice to get eligible for competition, which basically is just you have to have certified coaches, a first aid kit and a plan of action of
Okay,
calling
yeah.
911 if somebody's hurt, the other adult stays with them, so.
Yeah.
But again, there's not that many serious injuries from wrestling, I'm not saying it's not possible, but, we go to the extra effort to make sure we're not in precarious positions and doing silly things, we try to maintain a good community atmosphere and keep everyone safe, because my ultimate goal is to get kids up to quad and succeeding ahead of time. That's really the only place I'm going with this, is to grow the quad and wrestling program, get the youth an opportunity. I'm gonna lose money, my wife's gonna yell at me, it's gonna take time, but that's where I'm going with this.
Anyone have comments,
I think there was some comment.
Matt?
Just one comment is if this is a recurring Tuesday and Thursday event on the 2nd floor, it may affect any events you try to put on the 1st floor due to noise.
Mm.
So if, it may be something you just gotta think about, or If you have a particular event, it's just a night where you reach out to them and say, can you skip next Tuesday?
Yeah, so
You know, that's all, I mean,
yeah,
just
so
to keep it in mind.
Yeah, no, agreed, and that was in my mind, and I've told Sandy that I'd work around that. So Sunday's the big day, you got the church group and you got the band
Right.
concerts. So in my mind, I wouldn't be doing it. I might do a Saturday, but most of them tend to be like Tuesday, Thursday from 6 to 7:30. If there's a town meeting or something rescheduled, I'll certainly blow it off, but again, I'm trying to stay out of the way, not bug people, be low impact. If I'm bugging people and upsetting you guys, I'm coming at this the wrong way.
I think it's certainly something we can look into, check with, as
Yeah.
far as liability goes, but, as long as the ADA compliance isn't an issue, because I know that's one thing that always stands out to me, and then once the fire escapes, that's a huge issue, but
What
we are making progress on that, as I understand.
And what we can do is, because of your interest in getting, we could say to the vendor, town hall first.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, but how can I keep this moving forward without pestering you? Can I give you a month and check in with the town administrator? Should I put
Well,
a
I
supplemental
think
request
that
in?
we should vote to authorize our town administrator to have communication with our insurance company, to have communication with other resources, whether it be fixing the fire, so that we would have information for you.
Okay.
That we could say, this is what we found, this is how much insurance you should be willing to carry, this is how much insurance we have because of liability, this is what's happening with the fire escape.
Okay.
This is our ADA compliance issue that we're concerned about, maybe we don't have one. And we just,
Yeah, I would move to authorize Tammy to reach out to any involved entities to determine the feasibility of this.
Second.
we have a motion made and seconded to, explore the feasibility of your request and to get back to you with information as soon as practicable, but hopefully, probably how about by May 1st?
Yeah, I'll give her a month or two, and if I don't hear anything, I'll just pop in. I'm always up here for some reason, so
Okay.
she'll see my smiling face with around.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
All right, thank you,
Thank you,
everybody.
Joe.
Thank you.
I know.
Oh, did we
I-
actually
I-
vote on that?
No, yes, we didn't. Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, got to vote. Why don't we just go back to public comment for a second, if there is anyone here for specifically a public comment? Rich?
Yep, sorry I didn't get on the board's agenda, I didn't realize we were having a full meeting tonight, so I apologize for that. There's been some comments and questions raised about the 250, and some of the members are here tonight, so I thought it'd be important just to come in real quick during public comment. I know it's a short time to talk, but to address the board that appointed the 250th committee or an ad hoc committee. The finances are under the control of the treasurer, they have been for I don't know how many months, several months. The treasurer's very, very pleased with having the financial records, everything was handled properly and has no issues. I spoke to Jacob on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you have any questions about the events, or anything that we have planned, or, I mean, I just thought it was important for us to touch base with our bosses, if you will. We're appointed by the select board, and there was some comments and questions.
Well, one thing I don't do is spend a lot of time on social media's comments, okay? I don't. We had some issues of concern, our treasurer had some issues of concern about a checking account or something. That was remedied within moments.
There was.
We have no issue, I have no issues with the way in which things have been managed, and I think you work with the accountant, you work with the treasurer. We have no issues of concern. And if that has somehow been an issue of some, whatever, it's not an issue for me personally, I don't think it's an issue for the board. And conversations with Tammy indicate that it's not an issue from our perspective, because the treasurer is very good at his job and is on all of us to do everything right.
So, yeah, and I was actually planning this for my select board report because I did start, researching this, trying to understand what happened. So, and my understanding is that there was an account that should not have been opened. And this was done, and I have not verified this part, but my understanding is it was done with permission from a previous town administrator who, perhaps didn't have the understanding that that was not an appropriate move. Once that was deemed inappropriate, it was switched to how it should be done. I think, Tammy, from what I understand, that's not, that type of account wouldn't be issued to a board going forward. That's not the way it should be handled, and as soon as that was realized, that was corrected the same day. So yeah, I think that's going to end up being a lesson learned, and I think we have someone now who wouldn't make that mistake. in authorizing something like that. So I think,
He means Tammy.
yes, I mean Tammy, she wouldn't authorize that to happen.
No,
He
So,
means Tammy.
listen, since 2019, I think we've had, what, 3 treasurers and maybe 4
I think so.
town administrators, there's been a lot
Yeah.
of transition.
So-
Certainly,
Yeah.
we didn't do anything willfully,
Oh, we,
yeah,
we just didn't know. And it was corrected immediately when Jacob
But,
asked for it to be corrected. It was
absolutely.
And
So
I
I-
just wanna point out that it was still meticulously tracked. Everything was tracked and can be traced too. So,
And I brought that,
I'm shocked.
and a copy. Like, I brought all of that. If you wanted a copy, I created a copy for the select board.
I mean, I would say the only person who
Sure.
probably liked it would be Tammy or the treasurer. I mean,
So if you are interested,
I would love a
created
copy.
a
Sure.
color-coded copy for you
Thank you.
to share.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Jacob said he has the records
I know.
he needs, so.
Yeah, everything's, I mean, from the beginning.
but yeah,
yeah.
full transparency disclosure, looking into it, you know, it was handled improperly on the town side to begin with, and it was corrected as soon as that was determined to be a problem. So, that's where it's at, and I don't think there's anything further to change on that. I think it is where it should be now, and that was done, you know, as quickly as possible once that was determined.
I think it's important for the public to understand why it is that they went that route in the beginning. It was because of being able to pay for things out of cash or whatever. And, I mean, could you explain that? You know what I mean? So you pretty much clear it up for everyone?
Yeah, well, I mean, people deal with plastic today, so cash is, people just don't carry cash. So we bought merchandise and things to sell at fairs and do whatever, and we needed to have a way to take plastic and sell our merchandise on behalf of the 250th, and those funds were deposited into that account. Municipal finance doesn't do that. There's no mechanism to take a plastic card and process it. So that's done. I mean, it's cash. If someone wants to buy a shirt or a mug or whatever, there's no method of doing
Well,
it.
that surprises me because like the school district, I would assume, runs under the same sort of, financial requirements. They, they can pay, parents can pay for their lunch, they can go in and buy a sweatshirt on their, so I think there's probably a way.
We did have conversations.
The auditors
with
don't
the
like
past-
it, like for
yeah,
plastic,
The past town
so.
administrator
Really?
Yeah,
had said that something would go up on our
not good.
website, on the town
Mhm.
website for us,
Yeah.
and there was communication, but again, we had a
So
different person.
I think there
and
might be a
another
way a
person.
public entity can do that. Do you know?
So I will say like credit cards and stuff like that, auditors are not for it at
Not
all.
happy about it?
For
Not at
taking
all.
payment from them
No,
through those? Nothing?
not that I'm aware of.
But
We can
doesn't
always
the
look into
town
it,
do
but,
for taxes and stuff? 'Cause I know
so
I
the
paid-
treasurer would probably, they do it, I think, for like collections on taxes and everything. But you're looking for like the 250th,
Point
like
of
little,
sale.
Like a sweatshirt.
like, yeah.
Who
Yeah,
walks
'cause
up with a
people
debit or
walk
credit
away,
card?
they don't.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
or maybe that you could always check with the treasurer, you'd have to have someone that, so the treasurer and collector, they're bonded and everything,
Yeah.
so it does go through them, and it's a different,
Yeah.
I guess, animal when you go ahead and you do it through like a little committee or
Mhm.
whatnot, you know what I mean? I mean, I just
I mean,
think
it would be
for,
ideal to have something in place for the 250th coming up for point of sale.
yeah, I mean, we could check with the
transactions.
treasurer, I could check with the treasurer, that's their, they do all that stuff,
The
handle
audit-
all
the
the
auditors
funds
are
and
here,
stuff.
Said he was actually gonna
The
be working
auditors
on it,
are here,
correct?
I
So
do know
maybe-
they don't like, I
That's
can
what I
ask them,
thought.
but I know
It was
they don't,
alright.
I know they don't like credit cards.
Yeah,
Jacob did say that if there was any way he could work through DOR and do it, he would do it, but we haven't got
Yeah.
that, answer, and that was a few months ago. But
Yeah.
I will double check with him,
he's been very supportive, very
Yeah.
helpful to our committee, very responsive,
Yeah.
he's excellent.
yeah.
He does a great job.
How many on the committee?
10.
10.
Yeah.
May I ask if all 10 of the people on the committee live in Barre?
They do not.
Okay.
We have,
Are you allowed to have a non-resident on a town committee?
the committee charter does not say that we have to live in the town of Barre. I live in the town of Barre, but the town actually voted to allow, Mark's daughter, Amanda Putnam, basically because her mother was on the committee and passed away, to be on the committee for that reason. But the charter does not say that they have to be.
The
Barre.
committee charter?
Yeah,
These are people that were born and raised in Barre.
right.
What would be the issue with that? To educate me, please? I'd like you to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do I start? So I'm on the finance committee. I can't be on the
I know
finance
you are.
committee
Okay.
unless I'm a resident of the town.
Yep.
So, I've never heard that you're allowed to be on an official town committee without being a resident of the town. You know, that's new to me. Can we talk about the $6,936 for police detail that was passed in the budget last year? And now I read in the minutes that it's $30,000. Like, can we ask about that?
Yeah, so that $30,000 figure was talked about way back in 1920 in the early onset of the committee, and that's a figure that I came up with, and I know the minutes specific to police, but that's a number that I talked to the committee about to cover police details, EMS details, and fire details for the larger events, fireworks, the parade. We're gonna have to bring in a lot of policing that day. There'll be extra EMS people, there'll be extra fire stuff. So that's where that came from way back when. We're not spending that money, we don't need that money. That was a figure that was just,
But your minutes of your meeting said that the police gave you a bill for $30,000.
no, it did not. It was just $30,000 was allotted, and there's no bill at all. And
Why
we
would your
paid,
meeting minutes reflect that? You know, I can pull them up.
and we paid the last detail bill, which was,
615.
and prior to that, I think it was like $250 maybe.
But why the additional
450.
amount? Because the finance committee already approved $6,936.
If you could direct comments to the board.
So the finance committee already approved $6,936 in FY '24 for police detail, according to the police budget. We have yet to see the police chief. We will, I think, next week.
Mhm.
And I'll have questions for him directly on why the additional $30,000 referenced in the meeting minutes.
I think that certainly the chief has had conversation with me, he's had conversation with Rich, and certainly Greg Balakonis and so forth, trying to ascertain what we could put in the budget for FY '24, knowing that in FY '25 was gonna be most of the big stuff.
Mhm.
And so that's why it was so, actually so conservative, I thought, in FY '24, because we weren't gonna do a lot of big events. The big events where we'll have to have more police, more, EMTs and all of that are gonna be in FY '25. So you're gonna hear a lot about FY '25 from the police department, I would suspect they're coming out tomorrow.
For
When are the police coming to, budget and
finance, it's next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, okay, so I would suspect they'll have some insight into that. And I know that Richard and I had conversations about it a couple times, about making sure, just about the police a couple times. But how we were gonna manage it in two different fiscal years, so. I'm guessing that there's more specific information coming down the pike as we look at the events that we'll approve tonight, that will be staged, and if we find out where the fireworks are gonna be, that will be good. And then, so I think we're heading into the big events
Yeah.
come June, right? June 17th being a kind of a kickoff.
Yeah, but just so you know, we paid the details, the last two details.
Right.
We paid out of our
Yeah,
250th monies.
Right.
So
There
I
was an email from the chief that I got in that binder that I gave you, saying that we are not responsible based on the conversation that he had at he noted a select board's meeting.
Yeah.
in there.
so I think this is kind of new ground for us figuring out, maybe not for you, Richard, but for those of us doing the 250th sort of kind of, flying by the seat of our pants, you're a little more experienced in that, so. I don't think there's any issues of concern. I think the police and, obviously FY '25 is going to be something that the planning, that the, certainly Budget and Finance Committee will have a lot of insight into and understand things better. But, Tammy, you have any questions, or?
No, just that I know that I've also talked to the treasurer, and everything's been done completely correct, and everything's, when they found out, it was rectified right away, so.
I think there's another comment.
So right now, the plan isn't the detail being paid out of the 100,000 plus donations, money that was allotted to the 250th? Is a separate fund funding the details now?
Well, that
And
will,
that's why you're looking at fiscal year operating budget decisions?
yes,
Okay, thank you.
because the police we're going to put it in their own budget initially, and then that became like, is making the police budget look extraordinarily ridiculous. So then it was decided that we would have to do it a different way in order to really make sure that the public understood this was for 250th, it wasn't the police department just growing out of control.
But we're still paying $37,000 in police detail.
I don't know what those numbers will be yet. We haven't heard the final, recommendation from you guys or from the police department, so I don't know. I mean, we've just, went through some ratifications of police contracts and so forth, so the cost of some of the details compared to what we thought the cost was 18 months ago or 2 years ago is different. It's more expensive now, not a surprise, but, so, I know.
And
we'll
that's
be
something that will
making
have to be hammered out before,
Yeah.
budgets and town meeting.
And not to beat a dead horse, but I guess the confusing part is the September 6th, 2023 meeting minutes of the 250th committee. And I'll read it. It says, bill from Barre Police Department. Committee has received a bill from Barre Police Department. Rich reports the Barre Police Department was allotted an additional $30,000 to cover 250th. So the next meeting or the meeting after, it references that Rich is gonna go talk to the police chief, or he already did, and report back, and then it's never referenced again.
Well,
Okay.
I know that those conversations happened, because not that I wasn't in the same room with Rich, but Rich did have conversations with myself and Greg Balakonis about it, and I had conversations with the chief, and as the chief pointed out, this has not been a big impact on his budget or his world, this first in FY '24. He expects it to be a relatively big impact on his deployment
Mhm.
of how he's gonna deploy, we're gonna have to get outside help, and,
How come that conversation wasn't reported on in the meeting minutes?
I don't-
According to Maura Healy's, when she was Attorney General, according to the reference guide printed in 2018, everything has to be put in those meeting minutes, a full recap of the conversation.
Mhm. I don't know.
Can I ask what your concern is with the police details?
I'm on the finance committee. We were originally led to believe it was gonna be $6,900 for police detail.
No, I get that,
And-
but do you
and
think
now-
the police are inflating it?
No,
that
no,
they're
no, not at all. I
creating
think.
extra
If you can both direct your comments to the board, not to each other.
I asked
That's-
if I could ask
just
him a
ask-
question.
You can
I
ask
apologize.
through us,
I think
So
it's,
I guess even if you were concerned and it was out of line, do you want to cancel events, pare down the police details?
Well,
or-
I mean, as a taxpayer, and I see all the finances in the town, we don't have $37,000 to throw at police detail for a series of celebrations.
Okay, so.
yeah, I think what's important is, one, it's not on the agenda, and if we're gonna go into it in this depth,
Yeah,
I would prefer that we agenda it for our next meeting, so that, because Rich and
I
his,
love that.
yeah, Rich
And
and
I
his,
know there's more people than me that wanna ask questions.
Rich and his team are here, and, I would like them to have the opportunity to prepare if they, whatever, and that we have finance committee understand, we talk with the chief, maybe have the chief here.
It'd be good to have a full understanding of what we're
Because
looking at for
yeah,
detail.
to me, it's certainly maybe a misunderstanding, but it's nothing of concern. I don't think people are misappropriating money or moving money. I think that people were trying to have the idea of what it was gonna cost for the whole, and then we had to break it up into fiscal years, and nobody did that. And so I think we know what we're doing now, and I think it's gonna be fine. But I understand your budget and finance committee people, because you have a huge obligation to try to make FY '25 work.
Mhm.
And I know you look from state revenues, you have to be as nervous as I am. State revenues are terrible. We had a little better luck in February, but not enough to, kind of take what happened in the first 8 months has been terrible. Way below any kind of expectations for this Commonwealth. So, that being said, we know that, we don't see the House budget yet, another 2 weeks probably before we see the House budget. And, we know that in the governor's budget, local aid, unrestricted local aid, it was just benchmarked at 3%. You know what inflation is, so you can just say, okay, how's the town gonna make up all of the rest of the stuff we need to pay? Some people are buying newer cars, so more excise tax may be coming in, but, you see those numbers first before even I do. So I'm sure you're worried as well. FY '25 is gonna be really hard. Okay, so we'll move on, and thank you for being here, but on our exciting night, Rich.
Thank you. All right.
Okay, thanks
On to the
again.
next project. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so,
And I just grabbed I forgot that I had
Oh,
some notes.
sure.
Thank you.
Can you give me a call about, you still work at the marijuana place? Okay.
No, not that one, I work at a different.
Okay, we need to talk about impact funding.
Give me all the good stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know if maybe you can walk me through some potential, because right now, we don't think there's really any need for impact funding. We don't have any extra costs because of that facility. And, you know, and so to make up some numbers seems so unrealistic to me, but, you know, so. If you wanna just chat with me, or if you think I should, you know, talk with Neil, Dean, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I talked to Dean today too. Yeah, I definitely can, I'm pretty tapped into the state,
I know you are.
when it comes to.
Well, you're way more tapped in than I am. I'm about marijuana anyway. Yeah,
I also have a few ideas.
thank you. Okay, thanks, Hillary.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. Okay. How come Fleming wants off the board already?
I don't know.
I think it's
Oh, health, oh, okay, well, that's good. I just,
Yeah, I know there's a ride for him.
okay, so we did the public hearing, we did welcome sign, we did veto coding, we did senior center director, you ready for that? We did Joel.
Oh, public comment? There's more public
Oh, we
comment.
have more public comment somewhere? Okay. Ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Evening, folks. So, for those who don't know me, Tom George, I am the chief operator for the sewer department, among other hats I have. So, first topic that I have is, as everybody knows, Route 62, Mechanic
Yep.
Street, and now all of a sudden 122 is gonna be.
Oh, 122 also. Wow,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, all of a sudden, I think is a good term.
Golden Worcester's gonna be a fun
I
time.
know.
I love my community.
You're gonna really
So-
love it now.
Sewer does run up Worcester Road. It was an
Mhm.
unexpected turn
Right.
of events. We've been asking the state for a couple of years now as to when they're gonna do 122.
And all of a sudden, stakes appear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we've got several manholes on that road that need to be, changed out, replaced. What's that?
Raised up.
I believe the state is gonna do all that themselves.
Yep.
But if we want covers replaced, we have to provide.
Oh, really? Okay.
To the best of my knowledge, that's what I've heard.
Yep.
So because of the time frame, we don't have the money in the sewer budget this year right now to be able to replace these structures.
What are we talking?
I've got 50 structures along that road.
Okay.
Covers?
You
along,
talking-
or are we talking
This-
about the
the
You talking
structure?
frame and cover?
The frame and cover.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, yep.
8-inch cover, or 8-inch frames with covers.
Yep.
Mhm.
Just standard covers, or standard frames, at $500 a piece. So I'm looking at a price of approximately $25,027. That's the first quote that I have.
Could you say that number again? 25,000?
$25,027.
So is this something that the enterprise fund can't be used for, or is the enterprise fund strapped
We
because
can,
of
and
the?
normally we would.
Yeah,
Like Mechanic Street, anything that's gonna be done on there, we should be able, we've had
Yeah,
them
that-
replacing as we go.
yep,
So there's a majority amount of them right now that are in
Pretty
good
good.
condition. Some are probably gonna have to be replaced in Mechanic Street, which we could do within our normal operating budget. But with Worcester Road all of a sudden popping up,
Popping
it's
up.
not something that we've been able to plan for.
Right.
Mhm.
For this fiscal year.
Okay.
So I'm kinda asking if the board has any tailings left of ARPA or anything else that we could, that could help to fund replacing some of these covers.
I mean,
How far out, well, does, are you looking for, is it, those are the town line, or is it, you know what I mean, as far as the structures, they go all the way to there, what do you consider,
See,
our responsibility?
Our responsibility is all the structures, from, do you know where the Colbrooks line is?
Yep.
Mhm.
From right there.
Yep.
All the way to the Worcester Road pump station, which is in front of our gym.
Oh, just from there back, that's right there, okay,
Yeah.
yep, I understand.
So that would be,
It's 50 in there,
yeah,
huh? Wow,
yeah.
you never know,
Yeah.
you never
Yeah.
know.
So every year, you know, we do a rotation of inspections and cleaning, one section every 5 years. Unfortunately, we just did this section, we just inspected, we just cleaned it, with the thoughts that we had no idea that this was gonna be done this year.
can you do one thing for us, is that, could you have your commission have a discussion about this and send us a request of
Yeah.
what you've just
I
outlined for
can-
us?
Yeah,
Just so,
Um,
you know, that we can have have the document to sort of go
Yeah.
along with the ARPA spending?
Yeah, absolutely. I just felt that due
Appreciate
to
it.
time constraints, just kind of bring it before you guys.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, you were saying you wanted last request in
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
ARPA, so I figured I'd at least get it on the
On the
docket.
screen,
Yeah.
absolutely.
How are you gonna, change those out, in the middle of what they're doing, I mean, I know how it goes, milling very.
So usually what happens is the state will come through, they'll jackhammer all around the structures,
Yep.
pull them out, put a plate, bury them back in.
They'll do that,
They'll do that.
okay,
And
that's what I
then-
was wondering.
Yep, so they'll do that, put them down to the, either to good brick or right down to the structure.
Yep.
Cover back over, then the mills will come through, build everything up.
Yep.
And then they'll come back in and raise everything up, re-brick it, put the new structures on, and then do everything.
Now, okay, so you've inspected them recently, you said?
Yes.
So we would know if any of them need to be rebuilt beyond the frame and cover?
Yes, so usually when they do that, they'll replace it down to good brick, or
Mhm.
they'll take it right down to structure.
Okay, and the state would cover that part?
Yep.
Okay.
So that's kind of my request, and just the time constraints is kind of,
Well, if you could certainly have the commission
Yep.
have a conversation about this and give us a specific outline of that, that would be great.
The work is gonna be started on the end of, week of the 8th, at least, and then.
That's
all
next
of us. There's a big push to get that done before June 30th,
I don't know,
so
both.
I just didn't know
Just
if
till
you're gonna be able to fit
June 30th,
that,
yeah.
get everything in the way, the way you need to. That's the problem.
If it's just a mill and overlay, yeah.
No, but I mean, we
Yeah,
got
I
some, we're
know.
gonna move quick, if this is,
Yeah, absolutely.
Going through New Braintree is a
Trying to
nice
get the
ride.
commission together might be a little bit of a task.
I'm with you on
Between now
the
and
Worcester
then,
ride.
I think there's still one commissioner that's out of country right now,
Okay,
I'm not sure.
okay.
I'll do my best, I'll do my.
Okay, well, if you can at least get to, just so that we have a formal thing from you that we can use for the ARPA stuff that we need to, produce at the end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
Do you guys want a copy of the quote that I have?
sure.
Well, you can certainly append that data to the commission's recommendation.
Yeah.
That'll be fine.
Yeah. The second thing that I have.
Let me just ask this question. Do we have any obligation under procurement for this?
How much is that?
25.
25,000?
Probably should get 3 quotes, yes.
Three quotes at
That's the
least?
first one I've gotten.
Okay.
But like I said, just time constraints, I wanted to, obviously, if that's the only, out of the 3 quotes, if that's the lowest quote, that's gonna be the highest price,
Okay,
right?
Right,
yeah,
So that would be the
That or
highest price,
less.
we would just,
yeah,
if I get one lower than that, then
yeah.
it's less than
At this point, we're just looking at materials, it's
Yeah.
not.
right.
Yep.
We'll give that to you, Tammy.
Yep.
So the second thing is, a couple weeks ago, we had the insurance advisory committee here.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
We discussed
Yes.
all that about the insurance offsets. The board had recommended that we get letters from the unions. I believe you got one from the fire today?
He's gonna send me one, I talked with him,
Okay.
did you end up getting
You
it?
got it,
Excellent.
Sandy? Okay. Police is supposed to have theirs in today as well.
Okay,
I believe they got a little bit busy and he was able to get his letter in as well. I have one from the Teamsters, which represents the
Yep.
Department of Public Works.
Yep.
Which all 3 unions are on board with, changing the offset of increasing the
I
town.
thought they
enforcement.
would be.
And along with that, we've talked about this in the DPW commission meeting. The DPW is in a crisis.
Mm-hmm,
We're having troubles hiring people.
mm-hmm,
I don't think a lot of people understand that we don't have a mechanic right now,
mm-hmm,
we don't have equipment operator right now, and we don't have 1 truck driver labor.
mm-hmm.
So we're down 3, and
Mhm.
we're down to 3 people left in that department for
Mhm.
highway.
Yep.
We have another individual that's gonna be retiring in July. We've had 2 positions open for over a year now,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no
I know that we're interviewing a mechanic tomorrow night.
Yes, so I was gonna say, yeah,
Tomorrow night.
I spoke,
I don't know if that's like, oh, it's a really wonderful candidate and we'll be all set,
You
but
aware of that, no?
we're,
I heard word of it, but
so I can pipe in on this one. I spoke with Jason in regards to, and tomorrow, he has a interview tomorrow night, and I'm gonna be there, it's at 6 o'clock. And with that being said, he had asked me to hold off until we have that interview, and then he's gonna get with me and tell me exactly which ones we need to go forward. and put on Indeed, and that is in my pipeline. So I am aware of the situation,
Yeah.
and I have spoke with him, actually, I think it was last Thursday,
Yeah,
or
so
right
it's,
around there
you
Wednesday.
know, just so people know that, you know, the guys on the highway, they're doing the best that they can.
Oh, I
They're
know.
strapped. And we've got one gentleman that's up in age, and he's a very loyal individual, and I think he's broken, I think he's done.
Mm.
But, you know, we're in a dire situation.
Mhm.
And going in accordance with the insurance, you know, that's another small tidbit to help bring, you know,
Yeah.
employees into the town
Yeah.
and also maintain our employees.
Right,
A quick breakdown, you know, I know we talked about this last week, Jacob had a bunch of numbers and everything else, and I tried looking them over, I couldn't understand a lot of them. So, basic numbers, an individual making $26.68 an hour gets a 2% increase. And an 8.4% increase on insurance. At the end of the day, that actual increase is $10 per paycheck,
Mhm.
so it's $5 a week. So, you know, we've been across the table, negotiations, we've done some good work.
Yep.
We've got some work ahead of us to do.
No question.
So anything we can do to start moving in the direction to,
I think we're gonna broaden our, you know, our, you know, we haven't really done a lot of extensive, you know, outreach for new employees, and I think Tammy's setting up some stuff that will be much more, you know, wider net, see if we can, you know, it's not like we have this huge pool of people just really close, living around here who wanna do this job, that's the real challenge for us. But if we get a mechanic, and people seem kind of excited about at least the paperwork that we've got on this person, but,
Yeah, I mean, we'll see tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah.
yeah.
so, I hope.
Jimmy D was a fine mechanic.
Well, yeah, and not only that, I mean, he
Loyal.
could kind of make something work even when you thought he couldn't,
Oh, yeah.
right? I
Yeah,
mean,
he did it for,
what, 40 years, 20 years, a long time,
long before me.
long before all of us, yeah.
But he kept all the
Things
departments going.
Yeah.
Was he 28 years on?
Something
Well,
like
at
that.
least,
More
at
than
least,
that, I think.
at least,
Yeah.
Almost 30 years,
Yeah.
30 something.
Came out of the military, came to the town of Barre, and
rest is
served
history,
as well.
yes, for sure,
So that's what I would ask.
okay.
You know, if the board's able or willing to do a vote on it, to get this moving forward, I'd appreciate it.
For this, for the sewer stuff,
No, for the insurance.
we already voted.
No,
No,
we need to put it on the agenda to vote once we have all of the,
Oh.
all the ones
Are
in.
we
So
waiting for the letters?
I'm sure we can have it on the agenda for our next
Yeah.
meeting. I'm sure it'll be in by then, and we'll all have a chance to have reviewed them, and so I'm sure we can have that on the agenda to vote on.
Yeah,
Alright.
So,
That's what I'll have.
okay,
Awesome. Thanks,
thank you
guys.
very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Any other public comment?
Pat had a question, I thought. Stuck his hand up.
I thought he just had a question about that, but.
Do you have a question? You stuck your hand up in the middle of that.
Are there further
Oh, I
public?
had a joke, and then I was like, this isn't the place, shut up, man. So I just put my hand down and just was like, never mind.
Okay, moving on. Joel, we did, I'm just gonna go to boards and committees, and then, why don't we go back to our Council on Aging recruitment efforts, see where we are with that. Tammy, do you wanna walk us through, that piece on our, the senior center director candidates discussion?
Sure.
We had interviews with 3 different individuals last week. Was it last week or the week before? I don't know. I guess it was last week, okay.
Time goes by
It all
fast.
runs together.
Yeah.
At any rate, we had 3 candidates, and I know that Tammy has done an extensive set of, you know, research on each of the candidates and so on and so forth, and is prepared to provide us with a recommendation due to the fact of what she found out about one of our candidates.
Yep, so after talking with everyone, with Mark, yourself, John, and I also spoke with Art, yeah, number 3 was who everyone had decided upon, so I went and I got references on her. I'm very pleased with her references. The first one I did, she said she's a huge mentor, she's very driven, very organized, great communication skills, she says things tactfully, she's a lot of fun, always put together, very professional, serious when she needs to be serious, and whoever hires her will be very lucky. The second reference that she gave me, they said they couldn't say enough positive things about Betty Jo. She works very hard and self-motivated, very passionate and kind, sees something and she fixes it and makes it happen. A very strong woman, very sweet, personable, holds her ground in a respectful manner. And the third one, her third reference, said that she's very passionate, a great problem solver, humble, loves helping others, calm, easygoing, and approachable, always wants to help, would be lucky to have Betty Jo again. Also, they had mentioned with pretty much all of these references, she works very well with people. So what I got from this is that she's willing to do that extra step, she's excellent. I mean, these references were amazing. I was really impressed by what I had received on the phone. So with that, I think the
Yeah.
recommendation that you guys had made is a good one.
Yeah, so I'll jump in and say, anyone who's followed along knows anytime we're interviewing someone, I'm putting together categories, working through those, and I think these were 3 really strong candidates. They all checked a lot of boxes. It was not an easy one, and ultimately I went by the numbers, and that's who I had just slightly ahead of, and that's why that was my recommendation to Tammy. So, but they're all great candidates, and I think there's hope to see some of them in other roles, other areas through the town. I mean, a lot of great energy there. There are 3, yeah. So my recommendation was for Betty Jo O'Brien.
Mark?
Mine as well was for Betty Jo. I just thought that she presented herself well. She has a really great background, sort of, various aspects of the whole thing, sort of housing and, not just people, not just managing people. She's got, facilities management and just everything all rolled into one, which is important to me, as far as what I could see. That's who I would recommend.
Art, you have?
Well, I was definitely for 3. When you did the background check,
Yes.
did you cover her military career at all?
I did not cover her military career, no. They did mention a lot about, I know that one of the veterans, one of the person that I had spoke with her son's a veteran. I know she's a veteran as well. They had said that they had worked really close with her. She does a lot of fundraising and stuff like that. They had, one of them was it was in Boston, and they do like the elder housing for the veterans, and that was one that she works really close with, and they said that she is so active and they don't ever have to ask her, she always wants to volunteer, and it has to do with like veterans are setting up people for housing and everything, and it's a non-profit organization. So I did touch upon that with them.
Yes, I found her to be strong. I thought she stood out more than the other 2 candidates. There was a lot of interest within town. I heard from a lot of people. I'm sure everybody, and everybody had strong opinions on what they thought.
Yeah.
But they didn't have the access to the resume, which I think is a big part of it. I think of the resume and what it said and the information, it's like 50% of the answer, and the other 50% was the interview. And considering the people that use the senior center, I don't think we need the bubbly thing as much as we need the strong, consistent managerial information that she can provide. So she stood out to me.
Well, I think that in Tammy's checking, and I really was sort of on Tammy's back saying, I want more information, because I think, I heard some of the same stuff that, that people were not, as impressed. They wanted someone who could mend fences, that there was a lot of, sort of disgruntled things that had happened. People said this to whom and all of that. And I asked Tammy to make it clear to her. I tried to make it clear during the interview, but I kept on hoping that she would be able to sort of zero in, but maybe I was too obtuse with my questions, I don't know. Because I'm concerned, obviously, because I agree with you, that she can manage the ship. I'm not worried about that. But managing the people and some of the, issues of concern that they've had, the split that's in there because of this person who used to be the director and now isn't the director, I worry about that. And I know you asked questions about it, and you allay my fears.
Yes.
But I still want to make certain that as Tammy, as you, introduce her that
Mhm.
you provide the mentoring that's necessary so that she understands that there are people who have hurt feelings, there are people who are, are isolating themselves away from the senior center, and that's not anything we want. We
Mhm.
want to bring together, and that's going to take her skill set to be exercised, because it's not going to be easy. I would suspect there's a lot of, really hard feelings between and among, and we just have to help work on that. But we also have to take care of the nuts and bolts and run the place too.
Right.
So I think she
Mhm.
definitely can do that in her eyes closed. So my hope is that she also has, from what people say, she does have the ability to put her arms around in a, kind of.
And that's what I did like. I will say, with all the references that I did, it seems like I got the same person in all three references, which I liked. I not only got someone that said that the same person that said she's a strong woman, they also said she's kind and she's compassionate. Like, that's what I wanna hear, cause I've been at that senior center, so I know exactly what we're looking for. And honestly, what I have to say, I just wanna put this out there, this is a little bit off the subject, but I was there, when you guys had your Easter lunch. I gotta say, what a wonderful event it was.
It went really well.
Oh, it was excellent. I had the last parking spot when I went there.
That's
Every
great.
table and all the chairs, it was all, and they were smiling faces. So that's what I want to see continue going forward. I really enjoyed going there that one day and seeing all the smiling faces and all the chairs and tables filled up and everyone was happy, and Brenda did really a great job. So I want to say kudos to that. And I want to continue to see that, and that's what I want to see. And from what I was getting with the references with Betty Jo, I feel that she's gonna be able to conquer that same atmosphere,
but
and that's what I wanna see.
But I really, before, I indicate that I will support this candidate, that I look to you, Arthur, and I look to you, Tammy, to help make it work.
Yeah, one thing I would like to add, those that are disenchanted, shall we say, and have been, in order for this to work, they've gotta meet us partway,
Mhm.
and that's the challenge.
Mhm.
I think she can take care of the part she needs to take care of, but if they're just gonna, all the time,
Mhm.
cross,
Mhm.
God help us,
Mm.
if they stick to that, I don't know how we get by it.
Well,
We can only try.
I believe that if you look at the Gaza Strip, somehow they're gonna get by it. We have to be able to fix a little bit of thing at the senior center. That's the way I look at it. I mean, when you think about how fortunate we are as a community to have a beautiful senior center, when you look around us, Oakham doesn't have anything. Hardwick is becoming involved with us. Hubbardson has, I don't know where they meet, but they don't really have a facility. We're really very fortunate, and the people who, help to put that senior center together are the ones now who feel disenchanted. They feel, disregarded, I guess. And so I'm hopeful that, like you say, we work together and figure out ways to get people back on task and feeling good about the senior center, because we have a wonderful thing and a lot of wonderful people who can contribute. So I hope everybody, kind of looks behind and keeps it behind and moves forward.
I did experience one negative today, not down at the senior center, but for another reason, I happened to have to go to Ware's Senior Center today. And it's the first time I'd seen it, and
Mhm.
the differences are very stark in many ways. I heard from people there that they have a lot of people from Barre to go there for lunch.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, that surprised me and concerned me. They do have a chef that cooks everything on site.
All right then, all right then.
So,
Come
yeah,
on,
I
Arthur.
have to put that in
Food's food.
context. But still, Barre people going to where when we're trying to get Barre.
Well, I know, but see, if food's the issue, then we fix it.
And
Right?
it's something we could think of.
I believe we're on the right track
Absolutely.
I do.
down there now, because the other day actually was a record-breaking lunch, or whatever
So
it was.
nice.
Yep, and seems like we're getting there.
Okay.
And
Well, I think I'm looking for a motion.
Yeah.
From someone.
So I would move to hire
Yeah,
Betty
yes.
Jo O'Brien to the Senior Center Director position.
I would second
We have a
that.
motion made and seconded. Is there any provisos we need? What would be her start date and that sort of thing?
Well, I was waiting for you guys to
Okay,
first say
Okay.
it, and then I'll have
Okay.
to,
Well, I guess the motion would be to make an offer,
okay,
yes.
right? Okay, we'll
okay.
move to
so-
offer the position of Senior Center Director to Betty Jo O'Brien. And then as far as background checks, is that, Cory check and everything, or is that still
Yeah, so when
out?
she offers it, once
Yeah.
she accepts it, she would then come to us and
Corey.
she would
Yeah.
get
Do the
Cory,
Cory,
yep,
okay.
get all the
So-
paperwork filled out.
Pending those checks?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded then to move with Betty Jo
Mhm.
O'Brien to the Senior Center Directorship. All those in favor?
I,
And please, again, I say to anybody who's watching the meeting, who's a member of the senior center, some of you will be happy with this decision, some of you will worry that it was the wrong decision. I only ask you to give her a chance, because that is the only way you're gonna know for sure. And that we're gonna know for sure if she is the caliber person that we think she is. I think we've made a good decision, and after, going and really researching this poor woman, I mean, it was pretty
Yeah.
pretty
Any chance
serious.
that we're going to lose her as a person for the job by salary?
No.
I know we had
No.
some concerns around that.
I think we're
No,
gonna be
because
okay.
Maureen had asked me to, when I did call and I asked her, I told her what the figure was and she was okay with that, and I told her to check references. So I did check that
Mhm.
first.
So I think we're gonna be okay, and Art, I don't envy your position. It's a difficult one, because you will be, applauded at times and not so nicely applauded next times, but
It's all part of the game.
it is all part of the game. But I really encourage you to do your really level best when she comes on board to embrace her and have the other individuals as well. And Tammy, you've got a,
I'm absolutely gonna be down
Yeah,
there
so-
mentoring and helping.
because it's such an important job,
Yeah.
such an important job.
Absolutely.
And our seniors deserve it.
They absolutely do, absolutely do. Okay, so we had a vote, where,
Chairman of the COA?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
yes,
thank you very much for your service.
I'm still fairly new.
But
Still
still,
goes quite
I
yet.
mean, it's still a job,
It
so
is.
I appreciate it, that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
okay, moving along, we did wrestling, now we're on boards and committees, a vote.
Did you finish the vote?
Didn't we vote? I thought we
Yeah, you
voted.
voted, they voted.
Oh,
We voted.
okay.
All in favor?
All in favor? Moving along to boards and committee, it looks like we have a resignation from the COA?
Yeah,
Health?
illness.
Yeah, that's what I
Well,
thought.
I guess his cancer came back.
Okay, then,
I hope I didn't say that.
yeah, to accept the resignation of Dennis Fleming from the Council on Aging with regret.
I would make that motion.
We have a motion made and seconded to accept the resignation from the COA for Dennis Fleming and to do so with regret. Those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye, got a vote. Use of town property,
Before you
Quabbin,
move on, Maureen, I just wanted to point out 2 openings now,
two?
Yes,
2 openings.
Yep.
Keep that advertised.
Well, two, and if there's some people that, who's feeling a little disenchanted, to come on board would be a good thing.
We had about 3 that indicated interest, so we'll see where that takes us.
Good, I hope to a good place. All right, thank you for your work on this. I know it's not easy to be you.
That's my way.
Okay, moving along, the request to use town property, Quabbin Community Band, Tuesday and Thursday, May 6th through August 5, from 6 PM to 9 PM. I know they do all the paperwork, they've done this on an annual basis. Could we have a motion, please?
Just a second. There's, I just want to double check. You said it's Tuesday and Thursday?
I think it's TH.
Yes, no, that's town
No,
hall.
TH is just Thursday.
Oh, okay, they're
Right?
just.
Quabbin Community Band, bandstand.
Oh, yeah, just one, okay,
Hang on.
you're right, sorry.
Yeah, okay,
Thursday.
Thursdays, May 6th through August 5th,
Yeah.
from 6 to 9. So yeah, I would move to approve the request to use town property for the Quabbin Community Band on Thursdays from May 6th through August 5th, from 6 PM to 9 PM.
And we have a second?
Second.
I have a motion made and seconded for the community band to use the bandstand and probably an indoor facility if it rains.
Different range, yeah.
Okay, on May 6th to August 5th, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Fred and Olive Earth Day event, community cleanup on April 20th, this year?
They did it last year, and it went very well. so-
Okay.
Great.
We have a motion.
I move to approve the Fred and Olive Earth Day event, community cleanup, on April 20th from 9 AM to 3 PM. And that will be throughout the town, I assume?
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded to approve the Fred and Olive Earth Day event, community cleanup for April 2024, from 9 AM to 3 PM. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, seasonal license renewal for Colebrook RV Resort. They need the seasonal license for liquor license, a common vitulers in in-holder license and entertainment renewal.
And I assume all the paperwork's in if it's on here. Yeah. Can we do all that? What's,
Taxes paid, they usually always wait
I
till
always
the last minute
check
when
that.
they,
That's
at least
the first
historically,
thing I
they used to be
do.
like, oh, I gotta pay my bill from last year? Oh, yeah, here again.
We good?
all right.
They're good.
We're good? Okay. Can I do all those as one motion? I move to approve the liquor license, the common victular in-holder license, and the entertainment license renewals for Colebrook RV Resort.
We have a motion,
Second?
we have a motion made and seconded to renew the seasonal licenses for Colebrook RV Resort. That is the liquor license, the common victualer's license, the entertainment, their entertainment renewal as well. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're good. Annual license renewal for Twitch's Nutrition, that they're looking for their common victualer's license.
I move to approve the renewal for Twitch's Nutrition for the common victualer's license.
Second? We have a motion made and seconded to do a renewal for the annual license for the common victualer's license for Twitch's Nutrition. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, it looks like a vote. Okay, ARPA funding discussion. I'm sorry that Dennis is probably not able to be with us tonight because I know that he came to talk with us on behalf of the committee that's working on the 9/11 monument, indicating that they were in need of additional funding.
Mhm.
And I know that we initially had a conversation, he was looking for $30,000, and we had talked about 15. And I guess if we want to take action on that, we should do so tonight.
I think he was looking for 38.
I'm sorry?
Was it 38,000?
Well,
Yeah.
No, approximately 33.
okay.
It was in the thirties, I don't know
Yeah.
exactly what it
I
was.
know that he's also submitted a grant to the Barre Charitable Foundation, and they basically said, let's see what the town's gonna do. So, I think they're gonna help if we help.
Okay.
You have a
So,
motion?
where did the number of 15,000 come from then?
That was random, I think we just had a conversation about it with,
Yes, I put a, did I put a question
He's
mark? I
already
put a
spent
question-
15,000.
I put a question mark next to it, so you guys.
well, he's already done way more than that.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what he was talking about. as
Yeah.
well.
Mhm.
I mean, you wanna go higher, I'm not adverse to having a conversation.
Well, I mean, we can always start with, put this forward and then, see what happens with Barre Charitable Foundation and see where they're at. I mean, I think it would be, it'd certainly be nice to have it up before,
Yeah.
September 11th, especially on our 250th year. But
Yeah.
I don't wanna hold that up where we do have a good balance even after everything listed.
The only thing that's not in that balance that's listed is
Mhm.
I have not received quotes for painting, as it's a very hard task for some
Yeah.
reason. And for the town hall for our heating, we really need that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the quotes would be on that, I gotta get quotes for that as well. So
Okay.
with those two outstanding, we have that amount, but taking consideration 8 and 9.
And I think we're gonna have to consider the sewer thing.
Yeah.
I agree, so.
That was
to put that in there
25.
too.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have to consider the manhole
sewer.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have to do that.
Oh,
I mean, we have to get it fixed, and like you say, if they're gonna start that road on the
Mhm.
8th,
yeah, it's happening soon.
we're gonna have to do
And
that.
then John Rice
And,
Corner,
and
if
we
you
have
wanna
not,
put 30
out of
towards Rice
ARPA,
Corner.
done really anything for
Park is
sewer.
good. That's gonna probably
So-
take it all up, I would
Yeah.
think, after I get all the quotes.
Oh, okay.
So,
Oh, okay.
I can use my calculator on my phone.
So anyway, the monument, John, did you make a motion?
no, I haven't.
You haven't? Okay. Is that
Is
your
that something
intent?
We should have Dennis back here for?
Well, I don't know if Dennis, what his health is. I mean, we can have him
Well,
back here.
I spoke to him today.
Oh, okay.
Seems-
He seems well.
Yeah.
I know he'll come back
Well
and talk
enough.
about it. Trust, that won't be a problem. He'll be here. So if you want him to come back again, I know that he will do that. And I think if I can say to the Barre Charitable Foundation that yes, the town will help somewhat, I think they'll help. They just didn't wanna, because they've already done, I think, 25, I think.
I thought it was 5,000 they'd done
I
so
thought it
far.
was a couple,
got 2, so it's like 10.
yeah.
Yeah,
10?
Yeah.
they had done
it's,
5.
Yeah,
So I don't
just
know.
like to see where he is on it. I mean, if he's made any advancements over the last week,
yeah. Well, that's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
he'll be happy, I'm sure, to show up.
I mean,
Charitable
I could be
Foundation's
wrong, but
meeting until June, but that's okay.
I'm, you know, I'd be, you know, I have limited experience with the Barre Charitable Foundation. I mean, most of the things I see them post are usually 5, 10 at most.
Well, they
So-
did the town clock for 25, they did the
Yeah.
senior, no, the commission, one of them, one house, they did the roof for 13. I always say, don't hesitate to ask. I mean, so they oftentimes will, if you ask for 30, you might get 15 kind of thing, I have to say they
Yeah.
do that. But, they always have money that they need to spend in December, because they don't wanna pay taxes on it, cause they have, you know, 501c3. So, I would say that, you know,
We could put
I think,
23 and leave the
there's
other
no
10.
way around the town not helping.
Right.
I don't see a way we could do that.
I guess my question is it realistic to expect they'd put more than 10, and should we put 23 with the hope that they would put 10 towards it?
Well, I think if we do 23, I think that they will do the 10, but of course, I can ask around
Mhm.
and see what they say. I mean, but are we gonna vote to do that, or we just wanna have Dennis come back? See, cause they've added stuff to that thing since the
Mhm.
beginning,
Yes,
now
they
they've got those
Mhm.
things on,
Changes, yep,
yeah,
all the
they
different
did a lot of
instructions, yeah.
changes.
And you really only found one place where you could get that grant, I
Yeah,
guess, is what you
yeah.
spoke about, but there's just,
I mean, we can't
Yep.
leave it like it is, guys, so we have to fix it.
No, I think it'd be good to have it done. I think it'd be great to have it before, you know,
9/11.
September 11th, where it is the 250th this year. So I would move to put 23,000 from ARPA towards it.
Before Dennis returns to us? Do you want Dennis to come back one more time?
I mean, to what end? To show us a picture of it again?
I don't know.
well,
I
see
mean,
if
we
you
know
need
how
any-
much it
need
costs.
any, headway on it,
Yeah,
on
okay.
grants and whatnot.
Well, the only grants other than Barre Charitable Foundation was one that we aren't eligible to apply for.
Yeah.
It doesn't open until this fall.
Right.
The only other one that I can think
Oh,
of
I know
that I've
Dennis,
talked with him
I know
about.
Dennis would be more than agreeable to come in and talk about where he's at. I mean, I can't imagine he wouldn't. So if
That's
we
a
wanna
good
do that at our next meeting,
Okay, yeah,
okay?
so we'll finalize the 9/11 memorial at the next one.
I wish he was here now.
And, he was gonna talk to the DPW about trying to lower the number and ask them if they'd go pick up the granite and materials.
Yeah,
I think
Okay.
he had a way to try to reduce the money.
Yeah.
like the
Okay.
cost.
So, I mean, let's have him back one more time and
Okay.
see what he says.
Well, he
and
was gonna,
go from
he
there.
was gonna have more itemized lists too, and what
Yeah.
what the costs were, he didn't have it then.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
Okay.
kinda what I was looking at.
okay. So,
so
you take care of that, Sandy, making sure he understands we're inviting him?
Oh, I'll talk to him.
Okay. Well, we should
talk daily.
formally invite him.
Remind me.
Okay.
and then the
Yeah.
library chimneys.
Yeah.
Are we planning on that coming from ARPA?
Well, we don't
'Cause
know,
that's-
we don't know if we can access some of the money that's sitting in those accounts.
Okay.
That's why I tried to push them as to, was this town money?
Was some of that used for a roof at one point,
You
or
don't
what did they
own
do?
that building, to skirt prevailing wage by not owning it probably means you can't use ARPA on it.
You might be right.
It's not your
Yeah.
building to fund.
You might be
So be
right.
careful,
Okay.
because
Yeah.
it would come
Well,
out
no.
more like a lease or an operating expense.
Well, see, the thing of
way
it,
you've written
the
it.
thing of it is,
Yeah.
they have a, an agreement
We're gonna
with the
assume
town
that's not.
that says we have to pay
think you
an
can use the
occupancy
outside
permit
ones.
when there's a big deal. So I don't know, I hear what you're saying.
It's like a lease agreement.
Yeah, yeah.
We just call it
Mhm.
Yeah,
something different.
yeah,
Yeah.
so you might be right, so
I
maybe
saw the
we should,
agreement. How's your signature on it?
we should sniff around, we should
I
sniff
saw the
around
agreement.
a
It's
little
got your
more, make
signature
sure we
on it.
spend the right money on the right
Oh.
thing. You
No,
know?
I remember when it came before us, but
Yeah.
we had no agreement, and we're back and
Yes.
forth all the
Yeah.
time of who can help us, who can't, how do we do it, and
Right.
that's the method they came up with.
And then it seems like that other fund we can use as long as the bricks are made of books. So,
Well, see, but this is, we're relying on this
But-
memory thing that makes me a little nervous.
I think honestly, the town accountant should know.
I think it was,
what
I
it's
don't
for.
know,
Yeah.
Giving operating funds out
I would
of
like,
that.
I would like the auditors to just look and say, no, it doesn't say that,
That's a
there's
good
no
question.
restriction on this.
I had the accountant look to see who,
Mm.
paid for the roof, when they had, you had some
We
repairs
did,
on the
we
roof.
did that ourselves, out of
Using
a,
that fund,
out of
okay.
a bequeath, somebody
She
died.
couldn't find it on that, that's why I was
Yeah.
wondering if it was used for that.
Yeah, what
Yeah,
happened then, when
it's-
the roof was done, somebody passed away and Peter Salmon left about $90,000, and that was what was done on the roof. So
Mhm.
they took all the slate off at the time and did a lot of
Yep.
work on that.
Yeah.
So we were lucky,
Yeah.
we were really lucky.
So, I don't know, did we wanna go through the list of ARPAs where they're
Well, that's
at?
totally up to Tammy. I would ask Tammy if she'd like to walk us through at least where we are at this point. We've got some encumbrances on here.
So I put on here just things we've talked about, you would have to take a vote on them, obviously. So we have the ambulance for 305,000, I have the playground for 200,000. The fire escape, I went on, I did 2 quotes, I need another quote, just
Yeah.
so I can be, in compliance. And the 2 quotes the least of the 2 quotes was what I put in here,
Mhm.
12,680 for 2 Exchange and 40 West, 18,600. I put in the 911 memorial at 15,000, I just did a question mark.
Mhm.
Again, it doesn't, I don't know what you guys want to put in there. Put the Barre signs in there, which I believe that was voted on, correct?
Yep,
The electronic sign of 5,000, did you vote on that one?
no,
No,
I don't
okay.
think 5,000 will do the electronic sign.
All right.
I think we need to fully establish where they're going, what
Okay.
sizes
Yeah.
they're gonna be. I think we need to
Yeah.
flush that one out a little bit
Yeah,
more.
I think so
But
too.
I think, you know, realistically, I think if we could do either side of the common, but not on the common, and then, or, I think, yeah, I don't know how we determine the best spots to put them at this point.
I
I'm not
don't
sure who
either.
would be the best qualified to go through town with one of us and
Would it be
help sort that
Lucy?
out.
Lucy, because she's on the state
Um,
bill,
I
right?
mean-
Is it that, like, you can't do an electronic at all?
Oh, no, well, well, this is the historical commission, okay?
It's
Who
dicey.
can walk you through all of the requirements under the proviso that we are an historic district
Yeah.
in the common area. So there's things you know, they have a list, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do that. And so they came before us and kind of went over the list, and this was one of the things that, you know, from their perspective. So at any rate, we know, we have to replace the sign, it's literally fallen down. And the one in Barre Plains is not a historic district. So, and we'll do something more in line with, you know, it's not gonna be very big, 'cause it's not a very big common, but something that, you know, is similar to. So that's easy. The electronic sign, because I think people want that,
Mhm.
and Matt gave something, oh, maybe you could do
You
this.
know, yeah, my brain's jumping in, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
go ahead.
I think if we wanted to designate someone from the select board, and then maybe the planning board could designate someone to, you know, and have those two entities work together to establish ideal locations.
Yeah,
I think that might be the way to
you're
do
fine
it.
with me.
I'll bring it up to the planning board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See
Matt's
what they have,
idea would not only conceal it, but probably prolong its life.
Yeah.
Because it'd be like a weather enclosure unless you're
Yeah.
using it.
Yeah.
Has anybody looked into projection signs of any?
I have
sort?
not,
No, I haven't either.
Planning and select
I just
board.
didn't know, if that's, I know they make some pretty good ones nowadays, but
yeah.
you
Where would
wouldn't need a
where would
sign at all, it'd be a projection on some, you know,
You have a projection on what?
I don't know.
A building?
I'm just throwing it out there.
Side of the town
A
hall?
lot of times that's what it is, but you gotta have that nice flat, properly colored surface to
Yeah.
get that nice
Hold down
projection.
screen on the gazebo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's never gonna go through the commission.
Just to clarify a couple things here, and I'm not proposing going against the recommendation of the historic commission.
mhm,
One of the things that Lucy specifically told the planning board when we asked her about creating an overlay district for historic significance on commons is one of the things is, even though it's a district, they can't force you to do what they recommend.
Mm-hmm,
They don't have that power.
mm-hmm,
So
mhm.
they can't prevent you
right,
putting a sign up. So if you meet a mutually agreeable.
oh, yeah, well,
We're only gonna do it twice a year and it's gonna look better than that old orange sign ever did, concept as I suggested,
Mhm.
it's kinda hard for them to say no.
mhm,
Because what you're saying is it's gonna look like this old wooden sign
mhm.
until we open it up for 2 weeks each year, or
Well, or, see, I would suspect, though, that it's gonna be open X number of hours every day, because it'll become so popular that it'll be hard to just say, we're only gonna announce the town meeting, or whatever, people aren't gonna
Well,
buy that.
that's where policy comes into it.
Yeah, a
I
policy.
was gonna say,
Mhm.
that's something you could
Yeah.
enact as part of it, is
'Cause
a
I-
written policy that the
Yep.
town administrator
Yeah,
has control of the message.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it can only do it for these purposes,
because, you know,
potentially.
yeah.
Mhm.
And then in the future, they'll throw that away because they don't agree with us, but then that's the next board and the next group that.
And the next
they-
commission, right,
And I don't mean that,
no,
just being
No.
me,
Yeah.
because that's how I do things. But anyway, good luck.
Thanks.
The other reason I was bringing that up is that the planning board is still looking at the next steps to create a historic district overlay. And
Okay.
it's a very complicated process.
I'm
Okay.
sure.
And it does not give the authority to the historic commission. That type of district requires a whole new commission to be made specific to that location and that.
Gotcha.
And so it's
Good luck.
complicated.
Good luck.
So I just want you to know that we are trying to see
Mhm.
what interest and what level
Yep.
and how far.
Yep.
But we also know, good luck.
Thanks.
So,
Thanks, Matt.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
All right. So let's see.
Okay, so,
So,
Okay, Cory.
the next one is all right, so the CARES Act, it's, we owe 152,000, so it's already negative.
yeah,
So this is something that we could possibly
yeah.
consider to take out of ARPA.
Well, we should, just to
We
get
should,
that,
otherwise,
clean it up.
yeah, clean it up.
And you're just gonna follow up on that. Follow
Um,
up on making sure that we can use ARPA to offset this.
I know we can definitely use
Okay,
ARPA
then-
to do
then we're all
that, we
set
don't
with
have to
that.
follow up on that.
Okay,
I've already talked with the town accountant and we've discussed it, it's stuff that we could use for ARPA spending for
Yeah,
CARES Act.
And this
And
is
I-
something that realistically should have been taken
So
care of.
this is something
ago.
that,
3 or
yes,
4 years
yeah,
ago.
so we
Yeah.
had an interim town administrator, and then we had another town administrator, just kinda lapsed. It's no one's error, it's just
it's
something
even
that
before
just,
my time, so that makes me feel good.
it's just something that, unfortunately, it just wasn't,
Didn't happen.
it didn't happen.
Yep.
But it's something that needs to be
Yeah.
cleared up and was brought to my attention by the town accountant, so
Yeah,
that being said, we need to
And
clear
I
it up.
think we really, we have Henry Woods building heating stuff, we should probably think about, town hall.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, you've gotta have somebody take a look at it and see, I have no idea what a heating system costs in a building like this.
So after everything's said and done, now I have not been able to
Right.
get painting. I got I did get one that went out there and looked at it, have not received their quote back.
Mhm.
I will touch base with them tomorrow, and then I have another one that sent me an email saying they couldn't do it because they didn't have the,
Yeah,
the lifts or whatever.
Right.
And I know you have one that you were gonna give to me, and I'll call them
Okay.
and see if I can meet with them.
okay.
And then with the Henry Woods building heating, I think this one really needs to be, done because we have people in this building that are cold. It needs to definitely be looked at, and I was gonna get quotes on that. I can do quotes as well
Yeah.
at, the town hall if you want. But with that being said, so you see the approximate remaining 324,000, whatever, I think that's gonna, after we do that, and even after we do the town hall, that'll probably expend majority of those funds.
I think we need to at least, the fire truck, not the fire truck, the
The
ambulance is, one that we agreed upon a long time ago. We should formally vote that because I would suspect that's gonna be ready in the next 6 months.
That one's gonna be
Yeah.
ready soon.
So if we could just make sure that is, we have that.
And then
And
should we vote up to certain amounts for fire escapes and,
Yes, I
Yes.
think so.
Yeah.
I think we should.
and the ARPA?
Then I can move forward with the fire escapes, which would be nice, cause I wanna get them done.
So we have a motion we wanna do these individually? or-
Yeah, I think individually would
Okay.
make sense, just for record keeping.
Okay,
Yep.
so we have the ambulance, which is 305,000.
Yep.
So.
And now, this ambulance, I believe, was approved at town meeting with the expectation that we'd pay for it out of ARPA, if I remember correctly. And now, this is the part where we pay for it out of ARPA.
Never.
So, I move to approve ARPA funds in the amount of $305,000 for the purchase of an ambulance.
We have a motion made.
Second.
And seconded to approve the expenditure of ARPA funds to $305,000 for the purchase of an ambulance, so voted at town meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that looks like that's a go.
We should
'Cause
specify.
I'm
clean
guessing
up
you have to
hurricanes.
cut a check sometime.
Yeah,
Specify it.
I don't know if we wanna come back to
Also,
that
we
one.
had conversations that have
Yeah,
been doing
probably.
due diligence,
Right.
and I know, Tim, you've been doing some other, I think, meetings with different playground people.
So I've been trying to get out there with, I've already met with 3 of them, and they're supposed to be doing specs for us, coming back, gonna bring it to all of us and represent it. So we'll have some that we can look at, and that way it's just not wasting time with us going out like we did before. I feel like I wasted like 2 months on that one
Person.
Mhm.
person, and I feel like we just need to go. So I just did the legwork. I've been running around doing the legwork,
Great.
And we just need to get here and just have them
Mhm.
represent it now, and then we can hear what they all have to say, see how many swings, so now we know.
And so the 200,000 is our max,
So that was for High Plains, we
right?
put that for.
Yeah.
I don't know what you all wanna do with the Rice Park, I haven't
I
really
mean-
looked at the Rice Park, so.
Well,
I
let's-
think for Rice Park, you know, realistically I think High Plains, the 200,000 is what's going to make sense to have a good functional playground
Yeah.
there.
Because it has to be
Um,
handicapped accessible, and
yeah.
that means rubber mats and different
So,
kinds.
yeah, that's what I'm noticing.
Basketball court.
What's that?
Are you gonna pave the basketball court over
Not, we don't, maybe, but we haven't really gotten into that. We're just trying
Yeah.
to do the 2 to 5-year-olds and the 5 to 12-year-olds.
Yeah, I think realistically what High Plains Park would need, this would be for a playground, and then I think we'd be looking for open space, now that we have the open space plan, something along those lines, or a parks grant to develop, to do the rest of it with the basketball court and, you know, the fields, doing a walking path.
Or is there
What's that?
liability?
Doing what?
Like the equipment that's there, I know it's ancient, but
So-
like could it be donated or? is
Any
there-
equipment that's there, if it's,
We can't donate it.
yeah, you can't donate it,
It's
cause
bad.
it's bad, and
There's a-
what is there, they're
there
gonna
is-
keep.
I think that they will do an analysis of what we have there to see if we could reuse any of it. My guess is that most of it is just so, old, that it doesn't meet some of the specs that are necessary, so we wouldn't wanna even give it away. You know what I mean? So, I mean, one of those slides is out of the 50s.
I mean, anecdotally, I saw, someone stuff a paper towel in a rust hole to stop hornets from coming out, so.
Yeah, it's
there's-
pretty bad. There's some sort of a climbing thing that, remember the parents asked us to think about keeping
Oh,
there?
uh,
Yeah, the dome thing, yeah, so they seem to think, I don't know if that would be
But
appropriate.
so that climbing thing, the ones that I've talked to, they said that would be all set to keep. It's still in decent shape, so what we could keep if it is, working condition, I think it's okay if we do
Yeah,
keep it, cause
yeah.
it helps them out. Anything that's not ADA compliant, that has any rust on it, we wanna get rid of, cause we don't want anyone to have that, not even
Yeah.
our children, so.
I mean, I think realistically, we would probably wanna add separately another maybe 30,000 to do something at Rice Park,
Fine with me.
have those as separate items, but.
I mean, I'm prepared to vote to encumber, not to exceed 200,000
For High Plains,
for High Plains.
Yep.
That's me. I
Yeah,
mean,
I am.
And to encumber 30,000 for Rice Park.
Yeah.
Because this town has not done anything for parks and kids in my lifetime. That's unfortunately longer than I'd like. So I just think that this is an opportunity that we're not gonna get again. We're just not gonna get it again. Mark?
I'd be on board for those.
Rice Park and playground,
30,000?
30,000 for Rice Park and 200,000 for, High Plains. I mean, it may not cost us that much.
I just want to say the cost of High Plains, the problem that we're having with all three that I've had go down there, it's the matting, so it's not so much the equipment is okay, but the matting on top, whether it be there's two types of matting, you can either do like I'm gonna call them horse mats, green mats, someone calls them.
Okay,
You put it over the
yeah. They're called transfer areas where a
Right.
wheelchair can
Mhm.
go
and you put
or
up the
something.
Yeah,
playground
rubber
mulch
mats.
or
I'm
whatever
familiar
it's
with that. Yeah,
called.
exactly.
Yeah,
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 they're-
put it over that,
Yeah.
or they can do the other one, which is even more expensive.
Yeah, that's a poured
Yeah.
material.
Yeah, so if we could
That's
just do
28
regular, we didn't have to have
$28 a
ADA
square foot.
compliant,
Is that what it is?
It would
That's
be
what it was in
cheap.
Hubbardston. It's a lot of money.
That is a lot.
It's very
Yeah.
expensive, that like almost doubles
Right,
us.
and like in Hubbardston, they just poured pathways
Yeah.
and the rest
Yeah.
was wood
Yeah,
chips.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
And-
it's not like, I'm trying to think of the one in Worcester.
we gotta
It's-
check that out.
There's
maybe.
the most accessible
Hubbardston.
playground in,
Oh, really?
this side, what's that?
Elm Park.
Not Elm, it's right near the reservoir, can't think of the name of it offhand.
Well, Elm Park is pretty amazing.
Hmm.
Yeah, really amazing. So,
This one's so
Talking about
accessible,
the
I
private
can go
school
up
down
onto
there?
it.
Talking about the private school down there?
No, it's, I'll come up with it, it's not relevant right now, but,
okay,
You
so
have
we
to take
have
pictures of it.
conversation about $200,000 for the playground at
High Plains.
High Plains and 30,000 for Rice Park.
I move to approve $200,000 in ARPA funding for a High Plains playground.
We have a second?
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded to encumber $200,000 of ARPA funds for the construction or rehab of the High Plains playground. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and then we have $30,000 for Rice Park
Yep.
rehab.
I move to approve $30,000 in ARPA funding for a rehab of Rice Park.
We have a motion, second?
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded to encumber $30,000 of ARPA funds for the purposes of rehabbing the park facility at Rice Park on School Street.
Yep.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we've got the ambulance in, we've got the playground in. Is fire escape something you wanna wait and get a more
Yeah, why don't we
sound
get one
number on
more?
that?
Yeah, we'll do that.
And the
So I'm gonna get
9/11
one more.
memorial, we're gonna get
We're gonna hold on.
Dennis in here again,
Yep.
and have a
Yeah, you
conversation
will.
about that. The welcome to Barre sign, we've already approved. The electronic sign, I think was premature. I don't have a clue. I'm guessing though it's more than 5. It would be probably 12 or 13. I'm
Yeah,
guessing.
we'll have to get better situation on
Yeah.
locations and
Can we,
sizes.
can we do, the CARES Act is, we have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how else you're gonna get away from it, so.
Okay. I move to approve $152,000 for the CARES Act spending from ARPA funds.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded to take $152,000 from ARPA to offset the CARES Act overspends. Those in favor?
Aye.
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 And Tammy, if you would, and Sandy, if you would take a look at the specific language that we need for that, to make
Yeah,
sure
I'll check
that the,
with,
to make
Val.
sure that we are voting the exact language, since this is a grant.
Yeah, and this is also just an estimate of the town account. I don't have, it's like 151,000, I don't know the
Okay.
exact, so
So we may have to see that again.
we may have to see that.
Okay.
We can, I'll
Okay.
check.
And town painting, we're waiting for, and Henry Woods heating, and, maybe
Town hall.
town hall heating.
And then also sewer caps.
Oh, yes, sewer caps.
Or, sewer manholes.
Let's wait for the commission to send us a formal,
We're gonna hold on that. And then police drone, we did already vote on, correct?
oh, did we? I
Yeah,
don't-
that,
Did
you
we-
did
we
vote on
voted
that,
that
that's
last time?
actually in the.
Okay.
Yeah, and I
if you
just
look
asked
on
him not
the,
to just use it for the parade.
Yeah, I put that right here, police drone,
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Number
I was thinking we had
33.
actually gone forward and approved that last
that's
time.
included.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yep.
think we would.
Did we?
Well, because I
We
was
moved
whining,
it
because I
out
was,
of the app.
because I was whining and complaining.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Well, I put it on here.
Oh, yeah, let me
It's not on that one, it'd be the one before. Right.
It'd be the minutes we just approved.
Here we go.
That's fine, I see it.
I had it, but I just did it all.
Asian migration's in, dimensions and cleaning, sulfur, snow and ice deficit spending, transfer. Here's the drone. Police Department drone purchase, blah, blah, chief committed, blah, 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 blah. The drone is US-based, federal funding, currently has 3 things. Motion by you, Mark, to authorize the use of ARPA for that, and John Dixon seconded it, and we voted
Okay,
unanimous.
yeah, that's what we were
That's
thinking.
good, because it's already in my, it was already in my totals.
Yeah,
Okay, just wanted to double check, because I was pretty sure.
yeah.
Yep.
We got that.
All right. So we'll hold on sewer, hold on.
Would you
town hall.
keep us a running total of this?
Oh, absolutely.
So that, we can really
Absolutely.
be on top of it.
Yeah, you can see on the, so, yeah, when I put everything else, like you
Yeah.
voted on, I will, yeah.
And,
I'll send
and
you
you,
updated
and you were
one.
gonna look at some, PEG's funding for, I don't know, Spectrum Internet, I don't know if that has, some TV kind of thing. I don't know if we can offset, use that we're paying this monthly fee, that maybe we could be paying out of PEG,
The internet
$4,900, et cetera, et cetera.
Why are we doing that out of
All
ARPA?
this Spectrum stuff, we've got
I don't know, that's
Spectrum
something.
Internet Services, $49.22, we've got,
That's not something we're still actively paying.
No.
Yeah.
ARPA. That's something that was done before.
Yes.
Yeah, but,
you say that, but take a look.
that's actually the phones here in the building.
Oh, when they were updated?
Yes,
Okay, that was before I was on the board.
yeah.
Mhm.
I remember, yeah, when I started, that's when it had the phone system when you'd call it, so it'd say Barry incorrectly?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
before.
So that's just the phone system, email system, it's phone and internet, so that
Okay.
can't come from that.
Gotcha.
Right.
Bush.
Thank you.
Okay, it looks like,
Oh, one question, Tammy.
Yes.
On the, new police cruiser,
Mhm.
is that the correct number? Doesn't seem that's right.
What number is it?
51,408, I thought it was like 71,000.
Me too.
I'll look
Last
again, I got
page.
all of them from,
Last
the
page,
accountant, but I can double check it.
six on down.
Number 26.
Doesn't seem right.
I'll
Thought it
look
was like
at it.
71.
I have it upstairs, I'm not, Jean gave me a whole,
Maybe there's-
folder.
Tahoe these days, then load it up.
but it's, yeah, but is there, the fitting in here maybe? I don't know.
I
Well,
don't know.
maybe
Jim.
Cause it would
maybe
be two
there- maybe there's
separate.
a trade.
These two separate amounts
Oh,
of
could be,
fitting.
maybe.
It would
That's
be
the first time I've
the,
seen this.
yeah,
Police chief, he said he was gonna reuse all the equipment inside of it, so it was without electronics.
Oh, okay.
so that could be it too. I'll double check
Yeah,
though.
double check that, you're right, salute
Yeah.
on the chief side.
Maybe
One,
it's-
one
It's a
thing
great
would
But I
concept.
equaled perfectly with
one
the
thing
town
would you check as
accountant
well?
last time I did it. so.
I'm gonna say the second year I was on the board, one of the police officers totaled the vehicle, totaled the
Oh.
police cruiser.
Mhm.
We had total replacement insurance. We got a brand-new thing. But notice that this is still the rotation. The rotation should change, because we should have a brand-new one in the rotation, unless it was the newest one.
They happen to total the oldest one, which worked out. And
Oh.
we were going through the budget process on the finance committee to approve them for 55,000 this year, and that freed up 55,000.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you already took care of that.
yeah, well,
Okay.
not me, but.
Yeah, well, no, but I mean, because I was just saying, then, because I think when you look at the cost of vehicles and so forth, we're gonna have, maybe every 6 years isn't gonna make it, or every 7 years, or whatever we're doing, maybe we're gonna have to go to 8. I worry a lot about, just any capital, because it's, I tell you, the state revenues are very bad.
That could all change though, if we get, regionalization, back to that.
Well, yeah, but you and I
No.
both know.
It's gonna take some time, though.
I would,
Yeah.
because I would tell you, I told you, when the 5 towns tried to get together to regionalize the
Yeah.
schools in 1955,
Is that what it was?
they did it in 65,
10 years?
10 years.
Right, but it doesn't have to
So
be
now
that
it'd be
extensive
30
of a
years.
process. It doesn't have to be that extensive of everyone working together. It can be taken one town here,
One down there,
show the,
show it can
the
work.
model of what it can
Yeah, but
be,
at
and
that
then
point
bring in
thought,
other
was it
ones.
done
That's
out of
not,
desperation, or was where it would be
Well,
at?
it was done out of desperation in that they had, those were the days when there was a birth, there were more kids. Hardwick High, Barre High, this was Barre High that you're sitting in, okay? They were old, the buildings were overpopulated. The middle school, which was called Center School, burned down in the town of Barre, so they
Yeah.
put this building on double sessions.
Hmm.
And that was just, you can imagine. we
That was a
went-
race park?
Yeah,
Oh.
that race park place, and, so this was on double sessions, then Peterson was in, then they were out. Peterson was in, North Brookfield was in, Oakham was in, then Oakham was out.
North Brookfield
Rutland
was
was in, Rutland was out. So finally, they came to 5, and it took them like 6 votes, to finally get the complement of towns who would do it. And then, in the end, they only had 4 towns, then in the end, and I'm just gonna say, maybe in the 80s, they got New Braintree. And I used to say to myself, why did they do that? They stalled our budget year after year after year. But anyway, so then they got New Braintree, and then they went K to 12, pre-K to 12, because the elementary schools were still in the towns. And so what the state did was they pushed across the table a bag of money, because they wanted these districts to get together. And it was a big bag of money, and I can remember going to the town meeting, which was in the town hall at the time, and people said, they're giving us $1 gajillion, and everybody, and nobody worried about their elementary school not being, too parochial or whatever, and so it's just kind of funny to see the change.
Mm.
So regionalization is, as you say, a good solution for some of our small communities. The state is very supportive of, and through compact, community compact grants,
Exactly.
which I'm sure we can get one over time next fall, and, so,
Well, there's a new set of rules for desperation on that too as well. They're all gonna be desperate for it.
no, well, the problem is, it's not that the public doesn't understand the desperation. What happens is they become enthralled with the leader that they have to dispose of,
Yeah, I know.
right? And so, think about, you have
I know.
5 chiefs and none of them wanna take a walk. And so, because we sit here and we say, what a biggest, we wanna just take you in. I don't see Hubbardston thinking that's a great idea. Could we have a
I
motion
move
to adjourn?
Yep.
What happened to the town administrator report, select report, correspondence?
We're
Oh,
done.
we just did it.
We said we were
I
just
have no
gonna,
report.
we just said we were just
I have
gonna,
nothing.
we said we were just gonna do that during the course of the
It's easier to do.
discussion.
Right.
So you would just say there were no reports? You weren't.
I'm fine with that.
What do we do? John motion?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded to adjourn. Those in favor? Aye.